Hello everyone. If you like this audiobook and want to listen to more, please consider subscribing. And if you like this video, like it as well, that it enjoy.
Ch.51. Matpov. The next few days and then weeks go by without any sightings of Victoria or unknown vampires. The final week of school approaches now, and with it the ability to be done with school forever, at least in this mortal life. Bella got her acceptance letter to the university in Alaska, while I didn't apply to any colleges for obvious reasons. Alice invited Bella and others to a graduation party at our house she was throwing. All the Cullens, Charlie, Eva, and even some of the wolves like Sam, Jacob, and Sam's fiancée Emily. They all agreed to come, Sam and Emily being more accepting of the idea as Sam has come to like the Cullens, while Jacob is still on edge around them, especially Edward. A few days before graduation, it would seem Victoria sent a lackey of hers to steal an item of Bella and mine from Charlie's house, as I didn't take everything of mine with me. Though the others didn't know what unknown vampire was in Charlie's house when no one was home, some had speculations. I knew it was for giving the scent to the vampires that Victoria was turning to hunt us down easier. The Cullens, wolves, and Eva became more on edge since then, but no one since has been spotted in the area. The day of graduation finally came, with everyone getting dressed up and heading to school in our graduation uniforms. Is that necessary? I asked Emmett, hearing him almost quote the entire graduation ceremony and Jasper snickering next to him. Yes, been through too many of these things and this helps keep my sanity, Emmett says with a tired sigh as the valedictorian gets on stage and starts their speech. Not surprisingly, the valedictorian was Angela, Bella's one human friend. Even though the whole ceremony was only about 2 hours, it still felt much longer than that, especially since Emmett was sighing the whole time. When it was finally over, many people did the stupid throw your hats into the air. I just left to find my family wanting to leave ASAP. Though of course Charlie, Eva, Esme, and Carlisle wanted to take pictures of everyone. Smile everyone, Esme says as we all get together in one group photo, but Emmett is frowning as he is very annoyed. Just take the damn picture. Emmett says annoyed, but Esme narrows her eyes at him. Emmett, you better smile and mean it, Esme says in a dangerously low tone and making Emmett shut up and smile for all the pictures. After all the pictures, we headed home to our house to do the final touches and get out of the graduation uniform for the party. About an hour later everyone showed up, though when Jacob showed up with Sam and Emily, Edward just stared at him with a blank face. Hello everyone, thanks for inviting us, Emily says, entering the house with Sam and Jacob nodding behind her. With the two going around chatting with everyone, I walk over to Jacob, who is standing by the door awkwardly and staring back at Edward with a glare. Jacob, you gonna stand there like a statue all day or gonna come in and enjoy the party as much as you possibly can? I ask him, smirking, and he breaks his eye contact with Edward looking at me. Yeah, sure, though can I talk with you outside first? Jacob asks me after he stops glaring at Edward. I motion for him to follow me. I bring him outside the patio in the back near the library. We sit out there and I offer him whiskey and a cigar, as I now like smoking these since Jasper introduced them to me. He takes the whiskey and cigar I offered him, and we sit in silence for the first few minutes enjoying the cigar and whiskey before I break the silence. So what's on your mind? I ask him while relaxing in my chair and taking a puff on my cigar. I've been meditating like you suggested every morning and it has been helping me a lot, Jacob says to me, pausing while looking at me. Okay, I'm glad it's helping you, I say to him, giving him a curious glance as I can tell he still has more on his mind. Well, I don't know about you, but when I meditated it brought me to this inner mindscape, and inside it was a forest like the one surrounding my village, but no living being inside it other than me. It felt like home to me, so I naturally shifted and ran through the woods in my wolf form. Though just recently I met another wolf inside this forest and it spoke to me, offering a way for me to get stronger. At first, I was confused by this wolf and its offering, but maybe I should take its offer. I was just wondering if you had a similar experience and what I should do, Jacob confides in me, and hearing what he said has my mind go into overdrive trying to figure out who or what this wolf could be. Without invading his mind and forcing myself inside Jacob's mind, I will have to ask him to let me inside his mind next time he meditates, I think to myself. As it could possibly be anything that is tempting him or actually offering a way to increase his strength. Tomorrow before you meditate, come over here and we can meditate together. I know a way to enter the place you found inside yourself, and maybe I can meet the wolf too and see what it could mean. Though I did experience what you are experiencing, For me, I had to subdue my two conflicting sides, and then afterward it made me whole. This could be a wolf you have to subdue to gain complete control of your emotions possibly, I say to Jacob, thinking hard about what he just told me and all the possibilities it could be. Quote. Okay, I would appreciate that, Jacob says to me after thinking about what I said. Then after a few more minutes of silence as we both are sipping on our drinks and smoking our cigars, we hear someone approaching the library. From the sounds of them, it would appear to be Alice. I thought you guys ran away from the party, glad you are still here, Alice says, smiling at us and skipping over to me, taking a seat in my lap. Jacob just was asking about meditation and my experiences with it. Though is Emmett starting any shit with Sam yet? I ask Alice to deflect the conversation for Jacob's sake and will inform Alice later when we are alone. Surprisingly, no, Emmett is being well leashed by Rosalie under her threats of staying outside at night, Alice says with a chuckle, and even getting a laugh from Jacob, who stiffened up when Alice came outside. How've you been, Jacob? Matt told me you guys have patched things up, Alice asks him, making him stiffen up again at the question. I've been good, though I would like to apologize for what I called you the other day in front of everyone. I was dealing with my anger at Edward and messed up emotions ever since shifting, Jacob says, trying his best to be friendly with Alice, even though I can see he is still uncomfortable around vampires. Oh, it's fine, I've been called worse over the years by many people. Though I appreciate the apology and hope we can be friends moving forward, Alice says, trying to help make amends between them and offering her hand for a handshake. Jacob hesitates at first for the handshake but ultimately shakes her hand. Your hands are almost as cold as Matt's, is that because you have ice powers now? Jacob says, surprised at the coldness of vampires, which I no longer even feel since coldness is a part of me now. Yeah, Matt is my fluffy ice bear, Alice says, strangling me in a hug, but I'm fine with it as she engulfed my face with her breasts, and even better, she was wearing thin lingerie. Jacob found it funny what she called me, though to mess with Alice I gave a small quick bite on her one nipple, making her jump and release me while giving me a small glare. You two make a good couple, Jacob says, surprising us both, but we smile at him. I'm glad you finally can see vampires are no different than us in most regards, I say to him, and Alice nods in agreement with me, forgetting what I just did to her. Jacob just shrugs and gives a small nod to me. Not that I don't enjoy being away from what I will assume divulge into chaos, but as one of the hosts of this party it is time for me to return to it, I say, downing my whiskey and putting out my cigar. Then stand up with placing Alice on the ground, as they both follow me back to the party. After Jacob downs his whiskey and puts out his cigar too. Getting back to the party, we all had fun as there was food that we all helped in preparing for those who could eat, while also being a wine with blood for the Cullens. The only issue was the stagnant attitude between Edward and Jacob, but they both just ignored one another for now. Then as the day got later, after we all were playing different games of all types, both Sam and Eva wanted to make separate announcements. Sam went first. I was told by the elders to give you, Carlisle, this pendant showing our official alliance with the Cullens, and one for you, Matt, though when your grandfather comes the elders would still like to meet with you both officially, Sam says, giving us both these silver engraved pendants with wolves on them. Thank you, Sam, and tell your elders I appreciate the gesture, Carlisle says to him after taking the pendant. Yeah, thanks, Sam, I will make sure I visit officially with my grandfather once he arrives in a few weeks, I say to him while also taking my pendant. I'll make sure they both show up on their best behavior too, Eva says, smiling at Sam, seeing our official alliance with them. Well, what's your annoyance? I ask Eva, and can see a nervous Charlie, then with my new sense of a god, plus my suspicion, I can see she is pregnant. Fuck me, I think to myself. Well, your Uncle Charlie and I are now engaged. Plus we found out that I'm pregnant. Eva says, making everyone smile at them or stare in shock, especially Bella, who is staring at the two trying to process what she heard. As Charlie seems to be happy with the situation as he is standing next to Eva with his arms around her waist. Congratulations, you two, Esme says, being the first to congratulate them, and now Eva is putting on the ring she had hidden earlier. Then everyone else congratulates them after her. Yeah, congrats you two, gonna have a younger sibling again, I say, genuinely happy for the both of them and ruffling Bella's hair much to her annoyance, but snapping her back to the situation. Yeah, congrats Dad and, Eva, Bella says, still processing the information and giving Eva an awkward smile. Someone take a family photo to commemorate this moment, I say, grabbing Bella and forcing her to stand next to Charlie, while I stand next to Eva, with Charlie and Eva standing next to each other between Bella and me. This only annoys her further, but she doesn't refute it. God, I miss messing with Bella, I should do it more. I still have to get my revenge on her for cock-blocking me. Maybe on their wedding night I'll pop up and interrupt them or send someone to keep ruining the mood the first night, I think to myself, formulating plans to get my long-awaited revenge. Esme, Alice, and Emily are taking several pictures of us as I suggested. Ch.52. Matt Pov. The next day came, and with it Jacob, who came over to meditate with me, seeing what it is that is bothering him. After going with him further into the woods away from the house, we sit in a small clearing in the forest with me motioning for him to begin meditating. You can start. Once you find yourself in the forest inside your head, I will perform the ritual I was taught to enter your mindscape, I say to Jacob, lying through my teeth, but he trusts me and nods his head, beginning to meditate. After waiting for half an hour, making sure he is in his mindscape and fully committed to meditating, I enter his mind but leave my physical body behind, bringing only part of me into his mindscape. Entering his mindscape, I can see that the forest I am in is just like the forest in Forks, and the eerie silence is slightly unsettling. Then I can sense Jacob walking in his human form a bit away from me. I teleport myself behind him quietly. Jacob, you were right, this is just like Forks, and the quiet is very unsettling, I say to him, making him jump in fright at my sudden appearance. Fuck, Matt, damn, you came out of nowhere, but yeah, this place is very peaceful to me. Not like the constant chaos that I feel all the time when I'm not here, my emotions all over the place, Jacob says to me while having a peaceful and happy smile on his face. For me, mine was a plain of tall grass with some trees and one huge tree in the center, bigger than anything on earth. Once I entered the tree, I was able to see my problems and deal with them, making me whole, I say to Jacob, and try to see if he has something that needs to be addressed other than the unknown wolf. I don't sense the wolf either, I am making sure my presence can't be sensed even by the best of the gods right now. Is the wolf always here when you meditate? I ask Jacob after not sensing anything other than us in this place. Not right away, usually later in my time here, and when I'm about to stop meditating does it show up, Jacob says to me, shrugging. Now I make sure not only am I unsensed but unseen, only seen by Jacob. This might be an entity I'm not familiar with and want to cover all my bases. Only a primordial like myself could sense or see me here, though among the primordials very few reach my strength, as I have reached the top of the top. Well, let us explore and see if there is anything that stands out, I say, and start walking around this endless forest. Sure, but I've run around this place in my wolf form constantly and haven't seen anything special, Jacob says to me, but shrugs and follows me. After spending what feels like hours exploring this place, we found nothing out of the ordinary here. Then when I see the frustration of Jacob settling in, I sense two new presences enter his mindscape. Jacob, just so you know, the ritual performed when I entered your mindscape makes me only sensed and seen by you, so if we do come across something and they don't notice me, that is why. I would also suggest not talking to me if we find something, as it would make you appear crazy to them, I say to Jacob as I sense one of the two presences heading our way. He gives me a confused look but then nods his head, affirming what I told him. Just before he could respond, the presence made itself known, by appearing out of the woods, and it was a man. Not any man, but a young man who wore only a loincloth made of animal hide and had war paint along his body. His appearance is of a Native American, with brown skin, eyes, and long black hair tied into braids. Jacob, upon seeing him, became nervous, as he had only ever met the wolf here and not this unknown man. I knew this was Yumcox, the Mayan god of forests and hunts. Young one, come and follow me. You should learn more about how your people came to be, Yumcox says to Jacob, who is staring at him in surprise. Who are you? Jacob asks him. I am Yumcox, the god our people have long forgotten, but still watches over you all, Yumcox introduces himself. Though I can see Jacob is still hesitating and not sure how to proceed. Go with him, I too was visited by gods in my mindscape. Though the Norse gods, they are not to be trusted 100%, but learn what he wants, I say to Jacob, who just nods his head, still staring at Yumcox confused. As Jacob follows Yumcox to wherever it is they are headed, I decide to see what or who this other presence is here. Appearing inside a cave that appeared when these presences came to Jacob's mindscape, I see a wolf lying in the cave sleeping. Looking at it, I know it is the Mayan god of death and mutants, known as Shalut. From the looks of things, all shifters that exist in this world are tied to a pantheon of gods. Mine is Norse, Jacob's is Mayan, and I am sure there are others for each pantheon. This does not mean Jacob will ascend to godhood, that I know with the knowledge I now possess after seeing these gods like a lock was broken inside my mind. For I was an exception in the grand cosmos for some reason. The first mortal in an extremely long time to ascend to godhood, let alone the primordial level. As I contemplated this, how to proceed, and if I should further involve myself, I felt a new presence looking into this world and they sensed me. Meaning this was a primordial level god. Veternar, why are you in the realm of my people? We have no quarrel with the Norse or Jotunheim. I hear a feminine voice enter my head, that I recognize as Ixchel. She is the primordial goddess of the Mayans known for the moon, fertility, and death. Following the voice, to her location, I teleport to her realm. Gods and goddesses are more powerful when inside their personnel realm, as it boosts their powers to twice their max strength. Usually, gods or goddesses avoid meeting in another one's realm of power, but on neutral grounds. For me, my realm is Jotunheim itself, such as hers is the moon's surface it would appear, as I find myself on the moon and staring down at the earth. After teleporting I transition myself into my true form in case things do turn hostile, but I also know not all primordials are at the same level. I am tied with others for being the strongest among primordials, the only ones matching my strength being Gia, Tartarus, Set, and Ra. As we all stand equally at the top, being 5 times as strong as the other primordials. Ixchel, I do not come in aggression or ill reasons, but before ascending that human who your people are playing with was a friend of mine. I was just trying to help him understand what possibly could be going on inside his head. After seeing Yum Cox and Shalut, I now understand you are choosing him to be the champion of your pantheon. Is this because I plan on making a city for the changed humans and I assume the other pantheons are doing the same? I say to Ixchel as release my power to intimidate her, plus I tower over her, being the largest of the primordials is a nice boon when you want to intimidate. I can tell my presence makes her nervous, that even in her realm I still overpower her more than twice over. I am glad you mean no ill will, Veternar. Yes, after you made your intentions clear of forming a city for the changed humans, the pantheons have decided to find new champions. We would like to see this city built and have a place where we are once more worshipped. The Mayan pantheon and others will most likely stand alongside you. We are curious who you will choose among your clan for a champion, Ixchel says to me, but the nervousness is still there as I am still leaking my power. Interesting, that would be fun to see. Though I assume not all the pantheons are on board with this, like the Christians or Buddhists, I say to her and now may have to alter my plans a bit to possibly wage a war that I cannot personnel partake in, as that would lead to war among the gods. The last time that happened the universe was almost destroyed. No, why would those fools want to give up more power to us? They have many followers still, even after wiping out ours, Ixchel says with venom in her voice, as most pantheons are not remembered as well or worshipped as they once were. Well, I will not interfere anymore with the journey Jacob must take to become the champion. You may visit my realm or me as my guest, though I find myself on earth more often than not. I say to her as for now I will trust her, as I do not sense any deceit or lies in her words. While also no longer leaking my power, making her relax somewhat. My thanks, Veternar, you are welcomed as a guest in my realm as well. I will discuss with my husband the possibility of an official alliance with you and Asgard if they want one as well. We will most likely be happy to make an alliance and assist you in making a place for all of our people to reside and worship us once more, Ixchel says to me smiling, and with that, I leave, teleporting back to my body on Earth. Returning there I see Jacob is still meditating and doing whatever it is inside his mindscape. Now who should I make my champion for the bears? I would choose my aunt or grandfather, but I plan on bringing them to my realm as gods so they would not be possible. Maybe Astrid or Lucas, since they are the only other ones who I trust enough with my blessing, I think to myself. Once someone has your blessing, a god is not allowed to take away the blessing, since fate has been sealed and no god can alter fate to that level. After these thoughts about altering my plans and how to move forward, Jacob steers awake. Welcome back. What happened after I was kicked out? I asked Jacob, making it sound like the god banished me from his mindscape. So that is why you disappeared. Well, I spoke with Yum Cox and he told me the real story about how my people were first blessed with turning. That it was ancient Mayan warriors who were the first shifters and they defended the trib from all things no normal person could fight. That he wants me to be his next champion, but to receive his blessing I need to hunt the wolf that is inside my landscape, Jacob says to me and seems excited at the idea of becoming a champion. That is amazing, though just remember not everything a god says is truthful and there are many sides to each story. I say to Jacob, offering him my only advice moving forward, as what happens next is up to him and fate. You said you met gods too in your meditation. Are you a champion of one of the gods? Jacob asks me after thinking for some time about everything he just experienced. Yes, I am a champion of a god. One of the Norse gods, but I should head back. I have things I need to do at home. Keep me updated with how this whole thing turns out for you, I say, deflecting the question away and getting up, leaving to head back home before he can ask any more questions. Though it would seem he's more concerned with what is going on inside his head. Yeah, okay, see you later and I'll let you know what happens to me in all this craziness, Jacob says, waving me goodbye as I quickly leave. Ch.53. Matpov. It's been a week since I helped Jacob and I told him that his journey in his mindscape is something he must do on his own. Not much has changed other than him trying and failing to hunt the other wolf in his mindscape. Today though, Alice and I are headed to the airport to pick up my grandparents along with my two cousins who have decided to join them, the twins Astrid and Lucas. Arriving at the airport once again borrowing the Jeep from Emmett since it has more room. The four exited the airport, seeing us. Once again Alice forced me to hold a sign, which said Bear Family and a picture of bears around a campfire. They all chuckled seeing the sign and hugged us both in greeting. Matt, you are colder and smell different, what changed? My grandfather Ivar asked me once we got into the Jeep and started to drive to our home. I got control over my emotions and with it an increased power. I can basically control ice now like magic, I say to them, lying, as for now I can't involve them in godly affairs, as Alice is different since she will be my wife soon. I plan on officially purposing soon. That is very good, seems the next clan head is going to be a very interesting and strong one, Ivar says with a smile. The rest of the car ride was Alice telling them all that happened since we last saw them, leaving out Eva's situation since that is for her to tell, and them telling us what has been going on in the clan. Eva, Charlie, Carlisle, Esme, Edward, and Bella are coming later today for dinner to meet them and for Eva to announce her and Charlie's engagement plus soon-to-be child. Entering the house we introduce them all to the Cullens that are living with us. Everyone, these are Alice's siblings, I say as Alice introduces them one by one to my family and they introduce themselves to the Cullens. Your grandfather is a big man too, though your cousins are not as big, guess only your immediate family is big, Emmett says after the introductions are over. Ha, yeah, we of my family have the brown bear in us, though Matt is an exception with his polar bear blood, Ivar says, laughing at Emmett's statement much to the relief of Rosalie. I bet I could still kick your ass, Astrid says with some anger in her voice for being called small, though her brother, even being a black bear too, still has his father's panda blood in him, making him more relaxed. Relax, Astrid, Lucas tries to calm his sister down, but Emmett interrupts him. Okay, little girl, let's see what you got, Emmett says, taunting her, much to Rosalie's annoyance, but before she can scold him. Fine little man, let's see who is the better fighter, Astrid says, and I just sigh since this seems to be happening regardless. If we try to stop them, they will fight later probably. Bringing them outside to the gym we set up, I bring them to the fighting area where we have all been training the Cullens with Jasper, Alice, or me. It's in the same style as the fighting rings I trained in at the clan in Sweden. Okay, you two, no severe injuries to each other, try to make this as clean as possible. The first to submit, be knocked, or pushed out of the ring loses, I say, sighing as we all go outside to watch this fight. Wait, before they fight let's make bets, Jasper says as his gambling side starts to show, since he, Emmett, and I have bets going on about the Victoria situation. The bets are how many people she will turn, how many people will die, and when she will attack. Fine, alright, everyone bet on who will win. We are not going to get crazy with the bets, I say before Jasper can come up with a convoluted bet like how one will lose, when they will lose, etc. With the bets in place and with mine on Astrid winning. Wait, can she shift? I want to know before I bet, Alice asks as she is thinking about the bet. I thought she could, but we all turn to the two who want to fight. I can beat this muscle head without shifting, Astrid says, smirking, and Emmett just shrugs. She can shift if she wants, either way I'm gonna win, Emmett says. So yes or no to shifting? Rosalie asks now also. No shifting, clean fight. Shifting might make her accidentally severely injure him, Ivar says, since this is supposed to be a fair fight, and thinking on it I guess he is right. Shit, she is gonna lose, can't take my bet back now, I think to myself as I have been training everyone on how to fight like my clan, alongside Jasper showing us how he was trained. With that everyone finishes their bets, the clan members betting on Astrid and Cullen's betting on Emmett. Well, now that the bets are done, let the fight begin. I say, initiating the fight. After hearing the start, Astrid rushes Emmett, and being smaller than him is just slightly more dexterous than him. Slipping under his right hook, she grabs his belt and picks him up to slam him on the ground like we were taught in the clan. Emmett, having been trained somewhat on the clan's fighting style, digs into the ground and grabs the waist of her jeans. Emmett is stronger than her in pure strength, which she now sees as he begins to push her to the edge of the ring as she struggles to break his grip. The anger filling her, she headbutts Emmett's nose, breaking it and making him release her, surprised from the move. He grabs his nose in surprise that she broke it. Taking this moment, Astrid rushed past him, kicking him in the back of the knees. As he falls to the ground from the kicks, Astrid grabs his arms, trying to restrain him by bear hugging him from behind. On his knees and being grappled from behind, Emmett struggles to force himself on his feet. Seeing he is slowly beginning to regain his composure, Astrid releases him and kicks him in the back, quickly making distance between them. Emmett stumbles from the kick but quickly regains his composure and turns to Astrid, who is eyeing him carefully. They are now both taking this fight seriously after testing one another's strengths and weaknesses. Emmett then rushes her, as Astrid slips and ducks between his punches and kicks. Seems she found her opening after a barrage of punches and kicks. As she sidesteps another kick from him, Astrid takes the split-second opening to land a haymaker on Emmett's head. The power behind it makes Emmett stumble back, and we all hear the audible crack from the punch. Using his stunned moment, she rushes him and begins her assault of punches on his head and body. Emmett just uses his arms to block the punches assaulting him, but many slip his defenses, hammering into him. The fight goes on for another hour, with Emmett barely landing any punches or kicks, since Astrid is more dexterous than him and seems to have kept up with her training. As we are watching this slow battle of attrition, I sense everyone else who was coming over today is starting to show up. They all seem to arrive together coincidentally, and everyone except Bella and Charlie heard us in the back cheering on the fight. As they all walk to the back, they can see a bruised up Astrid from the few hits that Emmett landed and a pissed off Emmett. What the fuck is going on here? You guys having cockfighting without us? Eva asks, seeing this brawl, and Charlie just chuckles at her statement. The Cullens look confused about the situation, and so too does Bella. You all are too late to place any bets, but upon first meeting, no surprise there, Emmett and Astrid got into a verbal fight. Then they decided to take it outside, I say, informing them, and they all nod, understanding the situation. Though Carlisle and Esme both sigh at the situation. Though Edward seems to enjoy seeing Emmett get beat on. Fuck, we should have gotten here sooner so I could have placed my bets, Eva says, stepping up and watching the fight after greeting her parents. Charlie just sighs but follows next to her, and her parents just stare at him. Nice to meet you both, I'm Charlie Swan, Matt's uncle, and Eva's fiancé. Charlie introduces himself to my grandparents. My grandmother smiles at him, happy Eva finally met her mate, but my grandfather just glares at him and grunts in response to his introduction. Ignore my husband, I'm Inchgard and this is Ivar, it is nice to finally meet you. Eva has told us much about you, though we would love to get to know you more in person, my grandmother Inchgard says to Charlie and patting his hand, smiling at him. Though Ivar just ignores him for now, focusing back on the fight. Of course, you are more than welcome to come to my house and we can have dinner together at some point. You are down here, Charlie says to Inchgard and gives an awkward smile since Ivar is ignoring him and Eva is cheering on the fight alongside everyone else. Turning back to the fight, I can see the wear on Astrid is finally showing as Emmett has landed a few more hits, making her slow down and tire more quickly. Black bears are not known for their endurance but for their agility, as Astrid has shown in this fight. Then again, if she shifted, she could have won this fight eventually, I feel. But as this is not a deadly fight, but a somewhat friendly spar, she lost since her opponent does not tire and is stronger than your average vampire. Landing another blow on Astrid's stomach, she falls to her knees in pain and struggles to get up, but does not seem to want to submit. Black bears are very stubborn too, well, all of us bears are really. Seeing she won't surrender, Emmett grabs her by the waist and she struggles as much as she can, but is ultimately thrown out of the ring, losing the fight. Lying on the ground breathing hard, Astrid seems angry with herself for losing. Good fight, though without shifting you were gonna lose this fight eventually, Emmett says in good spirit and offers his hand to her, to help her up. Astrid just stares at him, still upset, but then takes his hand, sighing. Maybe, but I never fought a vampire before. Either way, you are a good warrior. I assume Matt taught you our clan's fighting style since you seemed to understand my style in the beginning, Astrid says after standing up and smiling even after losing the fight. Though now Jasper is giving out the winnings to those who bet on Emmett. Seeing a fight like that has my blood pumping. Too bad I can't fight for a while now, Eva says to Charlie, having forgotten that she still hasn't told her parents she is pregnant. And why is that? Ivar says, hearing what Eva said, which makes her snap back to them and have a red face, embarrassed. Seems she wanted to tell them a different way but messed up. I'm pregnant, Eva says, though happy, and Charlie looks like he wants to hide, as Ivar had a surprised look on his face but immediately gives a deadly glare at Charlie a second later. Ingegard seems ecstatic as she hugs both Charlie and Eva, congratulating them. Since that is out of the bag, might as well drop other bombs too. Farfar, we have to meet with the elders of the wolf clan that lives here. I have made an official alliance with them, but they wish to meet the current clan head also. Plus we might be going to war with an army of vampires at any moment, I say, and now Ivar is staring at me in surprise and then annoyance as he sighs, rubbing his forehead. Fuck yes, so glad I came, I get to fight in a huge battle. Astrid says, seeming excited about the idea of a battle, and Lucas seems a little excited also. Ch.54. Matpov. After the fight, we all went inside to have dinner, though the entire time Ivar either ignored Charlie or gave him a pissed-off glare. Carlisle and Ivar got along well since Ivar was being cordial or nice to everyone else. After dinner, Ingegard promised Eva and Charlie that they would come and have dinner with them to get to know Charlie better, much to Ivar's annoyance. Then everyone left other than my grandparents and cousins, who would be staying with us as long as they stayed in the US. Giving a call to Billy after dinner, to tell him that my grandfather was here and if we can come tomorrow for the official visit. Which now my grandfather and I have to do tomorrow. Then I promised I would show my family around the town of Forks. As the next day came, Ivar and I were about to head over to the Quileute. My family wanted to come and see it also. Giving a quick call to Billy asking if my other clan members could come and see the village that has other shifters, which he said was fine. Unfortunately, that means I had to borrow Emmett's Jeep again to pack everyone inside, as we headed over to the Quileute. Once we arrived at the Quileute tribe, everyone but my grandmother, who was not a shifter, scrunched up their nose in disgust. Fuck, I can tell these are wolves. Is there a place they don't piss? Astrid says, annoyed by the smell of the wolves marking their territory. Nope, though you'll get used to it once you are here long enough, I say, laughing, as the first couple times I came here the smell made me want to vomit too, but got used to it after some time. Pulling up to Billy's house once again, I see him in his usual spot on the porch smoking his pipe and drinking coffee. Seeing me, he smiles and waves at us. Hey Billy, how've you been? And is Jacob here? I ask Billy after jumping out of the Jeep. Same old, same old. Jacob is out on patrol and will be back in a few hours, Billy says to me, still smiling. Billy, this is my grandparents and cousins, Ivar and Ingegard, Astrid and Lucas. Everyone, this is Billy Black, one of the elders of the Quileute and father of one of my closest friends, I say to them, and they all nod in greeting to Billy. Nice to meet you all and welcome to the Quileute tribe. Ivar and Ingegard, I'll call the other elders to let them know you're both here now and then show you both to the meeting hall. In the meantime, Matt, want to show your cousins around the village and I'll call you if we need you at the meeting too, Billy says to us. Sure, do you know if Leah is around? I ask Billy. She should be at her house, you gonna ask her to help show everyone around? Billy says to me. That's the idea, I say to him, then wave goodbye to Billy and my grandparents as I lead my family to Leah's house. Walking through the paths in the forest that surrounds the village, we eventually arrive at Leah's house. Knocking on her door, Leah's mother Sue answers the door. Since Harry died this past summer, while I was in Sweden, Leah and Sue have been depressed since. Both not really talking to anyone or going out as much as they used to, so I am hoping to hang out with Leah today and possibly cheer her up. Seeing me, Sue smiles with some strain and sees the rest of my family, which confuses her. Hey, Mrs. Clearwater, is Leah there? I was wondering if she wanted to help me show my cousins around the village while my grandparents are meeting with the elders. These are my cousins Astrid and Lucas, I say to Sue. Nice to meet you both. Leah is inside, though I'm not sure she'll want to do anything today. You can come in and try asking her yourself, Sue says to me, and I can see Sue has gotten better as much as she can for both herself and her daughter's sake. I'll give it a shot, I say as we enter their house. Sue is talking with my cousins about the village and asking them about our clan. Walking over to Leah's door and I knock, hearing a response before I can say anything. Mom, I'm fine, I just want to be left alone today, Leah says with a tired sigh. Hey Leah, it's Matt, I say, and before I can say anything else her door opens up and I see Leah staring at me surprised. Matt, I heard you came back, but you never visited, what's up with that? Leah asks me and seems surprised but annoyed with me at the same time. Sorry, I was busy with all sorts of crap, though that's no real excuse. I should have come to see you sooner as your friend, but I know what's it like to lose your parents. I figured you just needed some alone time, I say to her, and she seems saddened at the thought of her father, but remembers I lost both my parents years ago. Yeah, was rough in the beginning. Still hurts and I miss him so much, Leah says, sad and on the verge of tears. I just give her a hug and she cries somewhat silently in my hug. I know this isn't really helpful, but for me, distraction helps with dealing with sad thoughts. Not really a permanent fix but makes it more livable. I was coming here to see how you were doing and to see if you wanted to hang out with me and help show my cousins around the village, I say to Leah after letting her cry for a bit in my arms and waiting until she calmed down a bit. Sure, just let me get ready real quick, Leah says, breaking the hug and wiping the tears from her face, but still has a look of pain on her face. Heading back to the kitchen, I can hear Astrid telling Sue about our clan and what it is like there. Sue listened intensely and chimed in with how certain things are similar here. Seeing me, Sue and everyone stops talking, looking at me curious about how things went. She'll be down in a bit, I say to them, and they all nod. After waiting for about 10 minutes, Leah comes downstairs and we all head out of the house saying goodbye to Sue. Leah, this is Astrid and Lucas. They are shifters like me. Guys, this is Leah, a friend of mine, and Bella, I say to everyone, and they greet each other. With this, Leah and I show my cousins around the village, introducing them to everyone pretty much. Then after a few hours of showing them around, I text Jacob to meet me at the falls, while taking everyone there. Once we arrive at the falls, Astrid and Lucas seem impressed with the beauty of the place. So why are we here again? Leah asks me once get there. I told Jacob to meet us here, plus these two are adrenaline junkies, so I figured they might want to cliff dive, I say as both Astrid and Lucas get excited at the idea. You can cliff dive in this place? Lucas asks me excited, and I just chuckle and nod. Watch, I say, taking my shirt and shorts off, only wearing my boxers, though I can see Leah looking at me with lust. Seeing me she then looks away with a blush and embarrassment. Without further ado, I jump off the cliff, which is maybe 60 or 70 feet high from the water. The rush of jumping off a cliff isn't much for me anymore, considering that in my real form I'm taller than this cliff. Then I swim a few feet away after jumping off, and without waiting too much longer I see Lucas following right after me in his boxers too. After Lucas is Astrid, and then as we all are treading water looking up at Leah, who is contemplating whether or not to jump. You don't have to if you don't want to, I shout, seeing her hesitate and not wanting to peer pressure her. Though that seemed to make her want to jump now, as she strips to her underwear and jumps off. After landing in the water, she swims up to the surface and laughs along with us at the excitement from jumping. Swimming to the shore, we all then start to head back up the cliff to either jump again or grab our things. Walking up the cliff again, I smell and hear Jacob approaching the area. Then as we reach the cliff, Jacob jogs over to us and is surprised to see Leah outside, but smiles at her, happy she decided to get out. Matt, what's up? Leah, happy to see you also, Jacob says, giving me a bro hug as I finish putting my shorts on. Then gives Leah a happy smile and she just nods her head in greeting. Jacob, my grandparents are here and meeting with the elders. These are I start to say to him until I see a look on his face that resembles the looks people get when they see their mate. Turning, I see Astrid put her jeans back on but is staring at Jacob with her shirt in her arms, also in a similar trance. Fuck, does that mean my plans on turning Bella before she goes on a honeymoon with Edward altered his mate? Since now the possibility of Bella having a child is gone if my plan works. I think to myself, seeing the mate bond form between them, and Lucas smirks seeing what's happening. Leah is confused, as she knows about the wolves since her father was an elder also. But doesn't know all the details, like the mate bonds. Like the good brother, he is Lucas decided to mess with Astrid, while I'm contemplating if the knowledge I possess for the future might be slightly different now. While I knew that was a possibility, my plans still centered the plot for the most part. If you two need a more private area, we can leave and let you two get to know each other better, Lucas says, smirking and being very suggestive with the phrase of getting to know each other. Though hearing him snaps back Astrid to reality and she punches his shoulder, embarrassed and annoyed with him. Jacob just has his jaw dropped and looks at me, since the conversation we had about mates seems to come back to his mind. Is there something I'm missing? Leah asks since she is still confused. Yeah, you know the stories about the wolves. Well, once a shifter sees their soulmate they bond with them. Meaning they become connected in a way, with their feeling for one another. Kinda hard to explain without experiencing it for yourself, but the best example is the fairy tale stories of love at first sight, I say to Leah and she seems to nod her head in understanding. Then looks at me with a sad look, guessing she had a crush on me, and realized now that I'll only have feelings for Alice. Well, Jacob, these are my cousins and shifters like me. This is Lucas and his twin sister Astrid, I say introducing them to each other. Lucas is rubbing his arm where Astrid punched him, while Astrid and Jacob go back to staring at one another. Breaking the silent atmosphere, I get a phone call. Seeing that it is Billy saying we all can head back to the meeting since the elders want to see me and might as well meet other members of our clan. We have to head to the meeting hall, the elders want to meet us officially. Can you lead us there? I say to everyone and turn to Leah asking her. She nods her head and motions to follow her. This is gonna be a fun meeting, Lucas says laughing as Jacob and Astrid are still trying to deal with the mate bond formed between them. Ch.55. Matpov. Heading to the meeting, Leah led us to a building in the center of the village that was large, much like a town hall. Entering inside, Leah led us to the back room where it was one big table with the three elders, Billy Black, Clara Zollinger, and Levi Yulee, who is Sam's great-grandfather and the head elder. They sat at one end of the table with my grandparents at the other end of the table, which could sit 10 people if needed. Seeing us all enter, the two elders, who I'm not familiar with, look at us with a scrutinizing gaze. Though Billy smiles and motions for us all to sit down at the table. Lucas and I sitting next to my grandparents, with Astrid sitting next to Lucas and Jacob sitting next to me across from Astrid. So these two are mated pair, Levi says, seeing the looks that are not so discreetly shared between Jacob and Astrid. Surprising my grandmother, Billy, and Clara, who didn't notice until now. Unfortunately, Lucas says with a smirk at Astrid, who shoots him a glare. Well, now it appears our clans have the cement needed to form between us. That is good, Levi says, and my grandfather nods his head in agreement. Billy seems very happy for Jacob, as like me he was annoyed with Jacob's obsession with Bella. Matt, we have finalized the official alliance, but we just need you to sign the papers for both clans to keep. Since you are going to be the clan head, your signature will finalize everything, Ivar says to me after the awkward looks Jacob and Astrid are having from everyone talking about them. Looking over the papers, I can see it is just saying that both clans will come to the other's aid should one side be called upon. That a marriage between one of our clan members on either side to cement the alliance, which we will now have. Astrid will now act as our representative for our clan here if no other higher clan members are present. Some of their clan will move to ours as a representative for them at our clan. Though I want to add something before I sign. This is a very good alliance, but I would like to add something. Since my mate is a vampire, I will now live as long as she lives, making me immortal age-wise. So I do not plan on being my clan's head forever either, but I'm not sure what your alliance is with the Cullens now. Though I would like for her to be welcomed here just as one of my clan would be, I say, thinking about Alice and hoping that she will be not an outcast here. I wouldn't say no to the alliance if they said no, but would not come here personally anymore unless necessary. So we were informed by your grandparents. That is fine, as long as she remains your wife she is welcomed here, Levi says to me with a nod. Giving him a smile, we add that line also in the papers for both clans to keep. Should any clan members marry a vampire, they are welcomed on either ground as would be any other clan member. At least if the vampire is not a murder-happy one. Signing both sets of papers, we finalize the paperwork with a picture that the Quileute will hang in their town hall and one for us to hang on our clan meeting grounds. After the meeting, we left the village, but Astrid wanted to stay for a bit more to hang out with Jacob. Though when she said that before Lucas could say anything she threatens to smash his balls. So we all left to head back to my home, with Leah too since I invited her to hang out with us all at my house. Arriving at my house, Leah was introduced to everyone and I told them what happened at the meeting. Once the day came to an end, we told Leah she was welcome here anytime, which she was happy to hear. Then Astrid came home a little later. Being able to not sleep anymore, I saw her try to sneak inside the house at 1 in the morning. You know, living with vampires and me who doesn't need much sleep anymore. It is almost impossible to sneak in. I say to Astrid as I'm watching a movie with Alice on the couch who is cuddled up on me. I give Astrid a smirk seeing her embarrassed face and Alice pauses the movie to look at Astrid with a happy smile. "Oh, you're back, how'd it go?" Alice says excitedly since she considers Astrid a close friend and heard what happened today with her. "Shush, don't wake up Matt's grandparents or my brother. I'll tell you, but Matt has to leave the room," Astrid says giving me an annoyed look and shushing Alice who gives an understanding smile. Alice would never. Before I can finish much to my surprise Alice is pushing me out of the room. "Matt, leave, I need to have girl time with Astrid. Go annoy Jasper or Emmett," Alice says as she is pushing me out of the room, much to my shock and Astrid is smirking at me. But you love me," I say surprised. "Yes, I love you more than anything. But sometimes girls just need to talk without a man present," Alice says giving me a quick kiss then motions for me to leave quickly. Giving an annoyed look at Astrid, I sigh and go find Emmett to take my frustration out on him. "First time being kicked out. You'll get used to it," Emmett says much to my surprise as he and Jasper heard the whole thing from the other room. Jasper gives an agreeing nod to what Emmett said. "Yeah, but I'm not an ass like you," I say and Jasper chuckles while Emmett just gives us both an annoyed look. "What's your excuse, Jasper?" Emmett says hearing Jasper chuckling. "Hey, I said leave. If we can hear you, you can hear us," Alice says stepping into the kitchen where we were at. As the rest of the night was spent with Jasper, Emmett, and me outside just passing the time with bets, drinking, and smoking. As the next few days pass without anything of interest happening, the wolves informed us today they had a run-in with a small group of vampires who they killed. Though we're able to catch one alive. Heading over to the village, all the Cullens except Edward who was with Bella, Ivar, and me went there to see this captive. Sam lead us to a cave they were holding the vampire. Away from the village, the vampire was missing an arm and leg. Seeing a young man maybe turned in his late 20s, seeing us all he became a lot tenser that now so many people were in front of him. We tried getting information from him, but he didn't talk no matter what we threatened him with, Sam says as we are all staring at the vampire. "I won't say anything either. So just kill me, I'm dead either way," the vampire says in an aggressive angry tone. The wolf outside growls in response to hearing the vampire, which made the vampire have a slightly fearful look. "I can try reading his mind," Edith says after everyone is thinking about what to do. "That would be best," Carlisle says as we all nod our heads in agreement. Edith then closes her eyes focusing on reading his mind. After a few minutes of silence, Edith opens her eyes and sighs. "He was sent here by Victoria with some others to scout us out and determine our strength. Seems from what I saw that she has turned a small army so far numbering roughly 30 or so newborns," Edith says relaying what she saw. "We can assume that since he won't be returning she will assume the group was caught and killed. Meaning that if she is smart, know we are strong or have more numbers than before, so build an even bigger army," I say after everyone was digesting this information, which both Ivar and Carlisle agree with what I say. "If she is smart, she will attack within the next week or two, knowing we might know more about them now," Carlisle says. "It would take a week for me to bring more clan members here if we need them," Ivar says. "That may not be good, since the Volturi might be watching or hear about this. Then they would go to war hearing about us having an alliance with vampires and wolves," I say. "I need them to fight this smaller battle first, as the war with the Volturi is what will bring the other covens together," I think to myself, as I don't want to show our full power yet. True, Matt is right. We will have to fight this battle on our own. We don't need the Volturi to get involved with this too and possibly fight us at the same time, Carlisle says agreeing with me. "Not to sound too arrogant, but you have me and I'm somewhat a one-man army," I say trying to reassure everyone, as I can get involved with the fight, as long as I don't use any of my godly powers. "Then we all have to start preparing even more for this fight," Emmett says and starts rolling his shoulders, seemingly excited at the idea of a large battle. "Okay, then we are increasing the training time with Jasper and Matt," Carlisle says as the Cullens nod in agreement. "What about this one?" Sam says gesturing to the vampire, who is now staring at us in defiance. "I'll take care of him," I say as they all nod and leave the cave, except Alice who is watching me. Walking over to him, I grab his head in my one hand lifting him up to my eye level. As tries resisting but can do nothing to me. "Your soul is now forfeited to me," I whisper in his ear only for him to hear, making him stare at me in confusion and fear as I only show him my godly form and grip his head hard enough to pop it like a frozen crystal watermelon. "What did you say to him?" Alice asks me after I am wiping my hands on the dead vampire's clothes and then tossing a match on him to light his body. For me, I no longer need to light them on fire. As the primordial god of winter and death, those who die by my hands are sent to my version of the underworld, or their souls are absorbed by me should I want to wipe them completely out of existence. Just that his soul is going to be sent to eternal damnation, I could see the misdeeds that he committed after becoming a vampire. He was scum, like those men I crippled that wanted to use you last year, I say to Alice, and being a god of death you can see the souls of beings and all the things they did over their lifetime. Okay, well, let's get out of here. We need to help the others finish learning how to fight like in your clan, Alice says to me and grabs my hand leading me out of the cave. The next week and a half is spent with everyone training. Then as the next day arrives Alice gets a vision showing that Victoria and her army are on the move here. Like the movies, Bella used her blood to mark an area in the woods to lead the army to where we would ambush them and Bella would hide in the mountains with Edward, Ivar, and Astrid protecting her. The rest of us would be fighting the vampires. Ch.56. Matt Pov, with Edward, Ivar, and Astrid protecting Bella in the mountains further away from the main fight, I knew they would be able to handle Victoria and her play toy. We had Sam, Paul, Jared, and Jacob from the Quileute tribe helping us in this fight, since the others wolves that turned are protecting the tribe in case some tried to attack there. My grandmother, Eva, and Charlie are staying at Billy's house in the village for the fight, so they are not in any danger. The Cullens, Lucas, and myself are also participating in this fight. As I can hear and smell them with my even further enhanced godly powers, I let the others know they are coming very soon. With that warning, the wolves hide in the woods nearby to ambush them, while the Cullens stand behind Lucas and me. Lucas and I shift as soon as we see them a few hundred feet away from us in the clearing we are standing in. Turning, Lucas, only standing 8 feet (2.4 meters) tall, roars with me as I turn into my Werebear form standing at 15 feet (4.6 meters). Seeing our forms, the vampires that Victoria sent hesitate, but seeing their numbers are higher than us, they only hesitate for a few seconds. There are about 100 newborns and I can hear Victoria heading to Bella with a small group too, around 8 total. Charging with Lucas beside me as we are heading straight into the charging newborns with the Cullens just behind us. I slam into the newborns, sending a handful flying into the air from the impact, as does Lucas. The Cullens begin to fight as only those they can handle. The wolves then come charging out of the woods and assist the Cullens in the fights they have. Since we told them as bears we are made to tank, especially me, they focus on helping the Cullens. Looking at Lucas, I see him literally tearing through the vampires one after another, while they are only giving him minor wounds. For myself, they can't hurt me no matter how hard they try, so I grab them one by one, tearing them in half. Using one as a weapon and smashing her around into the other vampires, until she breaks. With 3 jumping on my back trying to tear into me and bite me. I ignore them for now, swiping at the vampire near me and tearing through them. One vampire on my back bites my neck, which does nothing but piss me off, so returning the favor I grab his head in my mouth as he screams, which is cut short by me crushing his head in my mouth. Seeing everyone else slowly being overwhelmed by the numbers, I release a burst of ice from me that doesn't affect my allies but immediately kills the closest to me. The other dozen nearby are heavily slowed down by this and have completely frozen limbs. The ones further out are just slowed down by this burst of icy wind. Taking this opportunity, the Cullens and wolves retaliate and quickly take down the heavily affected ones. Matt, I hear Alice scream my name. Turning to her, I see she is surrounded and the other Cullens are trying to desperately reach her and help her. Seeing Alice is grappled and about to be killed, my rage bursts from me as I let loose a stream of ice breath, killing half the vampires standing and fighting everyone, in turn, saving Alice. Running next to her, she jumps on my back, giving her an ice spear that I made. She is now using it to attack from my shoulders. Using this new fighting style, we begin to overwhelm the vampires, especially now that they are trying to flee, seeing all their allies being slaughtered. I erect a wall of ice in the area that keeps them from fleeing, as no matter how they try they can't break the wall, and if they get too close it caused heavy frostbite to overtake their body. The wolves working with the Cullens are biting and tearing the vampires that the Cullens were grappling. Limbs and heads are being torn apart. Then I hear a yelp as Jacob is being death gripped by a vampire who breaks his rib. Rushing through the vampires like a tank, crushing them beneath me or sending them flying back as I charge through them. Alice stabbed at the vampire trying to attack me from behind with the ice spear I made her. I reach Jacob's side and grab the vampire, hurting him, lifting him up, and crushing him with my hands as his body starts breaking. The vampire is screaming as I crush him. Sam rushes over helping protect Jacob as he struggles to stand. Dropping the now crushed vampire, I walk over to a tree that is about 50 feet, 15 m tall and rip it out of the ground. Using this tree like a club, I begin to swing it through the vampires, crushing all those who are hit by it. The rest of the battle was an easy cleanup as they are now just fighting desperately and no longer even in the slightest cohesion that they had before. After killing the last few, other than a small girl who appears to be just a teenager. Seems she hid when the fighting first broke out, a smaller girl the same size as Alice having long dark brown hair, and a small petite body. Seeing us all approach becomes extremely scared, everyone except the Cullens and me was wounded. Lucas has only a few scratches and bites. The venom doesn't affect us as our blood is immune to it, though the venom does cause discomfort. The wolves had more cuts than Lucas, but no bites, and only Jacob had a broken rib. Since one of the vampires hit him hard enough in the side to break it. What are we going to do with her? Lucas says, rolling his shoulders after we both shifted back. Hearing us, the girls gets more scared. She doesn't seem like the others, like she was forced to fight, Esme says, and I can see now she has taken a liking to the girl, and I remember now in the movies this was the newborn vampire that the Cullens wanted to take in. As we were discussing what to do with her, the ones in the mountains came down and met us here. Luckily no one seemed to be injured and Bella didn't have to cut herself to save Edward, it seems. Seeing a vampire still alive, the one from the mountain look at her in confusion. Astrid, seeing Jacob was hurt, runs to his side and questions him, and he seems happy she is concerned for him. I assume you took care of Victoria and the one she brought to the mountain. I say to them as Esme and Carlisle start to ask the young vampire about her. Yeah, burning with the others, Ivar says, while Edward and Ed either reading the mind of the young vampire. Bella, you good? I ask her, concerned for her well-being. Yeah, just a little shaken up, Bella says, having seen the battle in the mountains and now the aftermath of our battle down here. There are frozen trees, bodies of vampires, torn limbs, and heads. Blood littered the ground from the wolves and Lucas who were injured. The wolves, other than Sam and Jacob, were putting all the bodies and things in a pile before lighting them on fire. She was found by Victoria's fake maid who she tricked. Her name is Bree Tanner and, she had a rough early life. Edive says to us about the young vampire to who Esme and Carlisle have taken a liking. She was forced to fight, and she seems different than the savages who we fought today. We are going to take her in as one of us, she will be the new addition to our coven, Carlisle says as Esme is slowly patting Bree on the back in a motherly hug, and the young vampire breaks down in her arms crying. Welcome to the, Alice is about to welcome Bree to the family, but before she can finish we all see the 3 new vampires entering the area. The wolves have just started the fire 2 of all the vampires we killed today. The Cullens recognize them and so do I. They are the trio the Volturi send out for enforcing their laws. They are Jane, Alec, and Felix, who is the leader of the 3. The wolves get on edge ready for another fight, just as my clan members do too. Seems you all were quite busy, and we missed the fun. What exactly happened here? Felix asks us as the 3 approached us. Victoria made a newborn army to try and kill us all with, as revenge for killing her maid a year ago, Carlisle says, seeing the 3 approach. I see, then that is good, you killed these idiots for breaking our laws. Though who are these people? Felix says and turns to the wolves and my family, making them more tense and ready for a fight. Jane and her brother Alec seem to want this to happen. Our friends, Sam and his pack of shifters. While Alice's mate Matt and his family of shifters, Carlisle says, introducing us to the Volturi who are now eyeing them with suspicion. You are saying you made allies with non-vampires? I'm not sure how Arrow and the others are going to take this news, Felix says, giving Carlisle a disapproving and judgmental look. Tell Arrow and the others that if they have a problem with it, me and my clan are more than happy to discuss things further, I say in a threatening voice, and the wolves and my family all nod their heads approving of my statement. Though that pisses Jane and Alec off, while Carlisle is giving me a surprised look. Jane then focuses on me, trying to use her power, it seems. Stupid bitch, I will break you soon, I think to myself as she has a surprised look on her face since her power isn't working. Seeing Jane's power isn't working and they are heavily outnumbered, Felix gives me a hard look while also putting his hand up, stopping Jane and Alec from further acting. We will make sure to relay your words to our leaders. You can be sure they will respond to this statement, Felix says, giving me a deadly stare, and I just smirk at him, pissing them all off further. As I need a war to break out between us and the Volturi, and Alice nods her head approving of what I'm saying too. Alice, who also knows my main plans. Then the three leave quickly, before something else can happen, which would end in their death. Matt, I thought you were smarter than that. Now we might have to fight the Volturi. Carlisle says, annoyed with what just happened. Maybe, but only if they put their pride before their brains. Push comes to shove, my clan and the wolves can help fight them, I say, knowing that the Volturi do put their pride ahead of their well-being, except Arrow, who might second-guess it. Though only if he feels he will lose. They should still show, maybe with more members than in the movies though. I will need to contact my friends in the world and see who would stand with us if a fight breaks out, Carlisle says with a sigh, as I smile to myself. This is the beginning of my plans, and now they are starting to take fruit. Either way, good job everyone. Though Farfar, you may want to return to our clan soon and prepare them for war. Also, see who wants to come down for a wedding I'm sure Eva will have soon, I say to everyone and turn to Ivar, who sighs and nods his head agreeing with me. Everyone then heads home. Bree goes with Carlisle and Esme, who are taking her to their house. Ivar heads to the village with the wolves to get our family, and Astrid goes with Jacob to the village to help him since he is still hurt. Edward takes Bella to her house. As everyone is leaving, I am now thinking about how to propose to Alice officially, since I want to marry her before the big fight with Volturi. If they are going to fight us, gives us 1 year at the least, since they are going to want to gather their allies. Ch.57. Matt Pav, it's been a few weeks since the fight with Victoria and her newborn vampire army. During this time, with the help of Emmett and Jasper, I planned how to propose to Alice. I am going to do it tomorrow, as I have a date night with Alice, but really am planning to propose to her. Sending the jewelers I liked in Seattle, the gem that I made with my godly powers, it is an ice blue diamond along with smaller ice diamonds. They were able to work on a ring for me and it finally arrived today. It was made from pure silver that had 2 lines of small ice diamonds that intersected the large ice diamond in the center. The cost was much less considering I sent the gems, and the jeweler only needed to make the ring and place the gems. The plan was for Emmett and Jasper to set up a nice table under a gazebo, with food and blood wine. At the place where Alice and I first made love and stargazed. Rosalie and Edith wanted to take pictures, so they all hid in the area nearby, including Emmett and Jasper. Using runes, I told them, but really using my reality warping powers of primordial godhood, made them undetectable by mortals and supernaturals. Though they don't know that, just told them it was where we ended our first date, which is true also. With them setting up the area for us to arrive later, I took Alice out for a date. First, we walked around town just enjoying each other's company, while shopping and window shopping. Then we headed to the movies like our first date also, watching The Breakup, with Vince Vaughn and Jennifer Aniston. You hungry? We can head to a restaurant, Alice asks me after the movie ended and we both enjoyed the romance comedy. I actually have something else in mind first, I say, and it seems she is not suspicious of my plans today. Alice gives me a curious look, tilting her head to the side slightly, but then shrugs and seems excited at what I have planned. Arriving at the place we stargazed and had our first time together, I turn to Alice, who then remembers the place. Smiling at me, though the area set up is by the tree we sat under further in the woods. You remember this place? I say as we walk through the woods to the setup area. Yeah, this is where we stargazed after our first date. And where we first made love. Did you become an expeditionist? That is fine, but you may want to grab the blanket or, did you want us to get dirty? Alice says, smirking at me. As she said this as we are walking to the setup area, my brain malfunctioned from what she said and she laughs. I hear Emmett about to crack up ahead, but Rosalie is holding him back, it would seem. Thank God, or myself I guess, for making them undetectable by Alice for now. Maybe later, but I had this in mind, I say after my brain reboots and I gesture to the setup table under the gazebo. Seeing the gazebo, Alice gives an understanding look, but smiles at me. The offer is still on the table, Alice says while swaying her hips and walking towards the table. God damn it, should have told those idiots they can't stay for this. I think to myself as I hear Emmett now laughing, but with Rosalie's hand over his mouth probably. Jasper seems to be snickering also. Sitting at the table I'm eating and Alice is drinking her wine, feeding me once in a while as she likes to do. With the sun setting, the atmosphere is beautiful. I assume Rosalie and Edith are taking a few pictures, as Emmett and Jasper have gotten a hold of themselves. Then as the sun is about to set completely, I prepare myself to ask Alice. The nervousness from when I first talked to her resurfaced and the fear of asking appeared, even though I know she will say yes. Close your eyes, I have a surprise, I say to Alice as we finished our meal. She gives me another curious look, but then nods and closes her eyes. You can open them. Alice Cullen, will you marry me? I ask her on my one knee as she is still sitting at the table. The small jewelry box opened, showing the perfect ring, in my opinion. The surprise and happiness on her face showed. Now it seems I made her brain short-circuit. Yes, of course, Alice yells, jumping up and tackling me into a hug on the ground. Luckily I am able to keep a hold of the ring, as she is now on top of me, kissing me passionately and aggressively. Still sitting on top of me, breaking the kiss, I slip the ring onto her finger. Looking at the ring and admiring its beauty for a couple of seconds. She then turns back to me with a look filled with love and lust. Before I can say anything, she grabs my face while still on top of me and kisses me with even more passion and aggression. Forcing her tongue in my mouth and beginning to slide down my chest with her one hand, reaching for Miname. Before I can lose myself to passion, I grab her hand, stopping her and breaking the kiss, much to her annoyance. She gives me an annoyed and questioning look. I would love to tear your clothes off and have an amazing time, but unfortunately your brothers and sisters are here. They wanted to stay and take pictures, I say to her, and the realization dawns on her as I remove the blessing I gave them. Yeah, dinner and a show, Emmett yells, woohooing us on. As I do, Alice can immediately sense them and hear Emmett. Shut the fuck up, Emmett. Rosalie yells at him, officially annoyed with him now. I shouldn't have let them stay, in hindsight. I made them undetectable until now, which is why you couldn't sense them, I say to Alice, sighing at Emmett and explaining why she couldn't sense them, which she just nods her head to. The realization of what she was saying and what just happened about could have happened, dawned on Alice. Now she has a look of pure embarrassment and gives me mixed emotions look. A look with happiness, lust, annoyance, anger, embarrassment and some others flash across her face at processing this information. Pushing herself off of me, Alice sighs and gets a hold of her emotions. Did you guys get good pictures at least? Alice says as they come out of the woods nearby, since she sees the cameras that Edith and Rosalie have. Hopefully Edith got more and better ones than me, I was too busy making sure Emmett didn't ruin it. Though it would seem he did ruin it still, Rosalie says, very pissed with Emmett, who is just wiggling his eyebrows at me. Jasper is now laughing just seeing the situation. I shouldn't have let you people stay, that's my fault, I say, sighing, and Alice is looking at the pictures Edith and Rosalie took of us. So you two could have some freaky outdoor sex. Don't look at me like that, we've all done it before obviously, Emmett says as I look at him, just rolling my eyes. Rosalie, Alice, and Edith are now staring daggers at him. Jasper shrugged as Emmett did speak the truth. The next 2 hours are spent with Rosalie and Edith taking all sorts of pictures. Some with Alice and me in different areas and poses. Then others with just the girls, and then some with just us guys. So, am I your best man? 'Cause I know some great places for a bachelor party, Emmett says to me as the girls finish up taking pictures. What about you, Jasper? I say to Jasper, purposely ignoring Emmett, who looks like someone just killed his puppy. I would be honored, though. Are you sure you want me to be the best man? Jasper says as Emmett and I are best friends, he is like a brother to me, plus he knows I'm messing with Emmett. Jasper is another close friend of mine and brother to me, but Emmett and I have a stronger friendship out of everyone I know. Emmett gives Jasper a thumbs up and a nod of thanks to him, which Jasper just chuckles at. I guess, you can be my best man then, Emmett, I say with a fake look of no other choice. I promise you won't regret it. I have so many things to do and plan, Emmett says, extremely excitedly at the ideas swarming his head. Have you been waiting for this moment? I say, laughing at his excitement. I've never been a best man before, everyone I know never really had a wedding. We just kinda got married, Emmett says, and Jasper nods his head in agreement. So who are the groomsmen, and when is the wedding? Emmett says, having all these plans he wants to make. Jesus, Emmett, calm down, we just got engaged. I don't know when the wedding will be, there is a lot to plan for it too. I would hope in a few months at the earliest, maybe a year depending on the location and other important things, I say, trying to get him to relax a bit. I would like a winter wedding, fits well with us, Alice says as they are done looking over the pictures and hearing our conversation, while also giving me a knowing look. Is Rosalie your maid of honor? I ask, guessing that is who Alice wants to be anyway. If she wants to be, Alice says, having not asked her yet, unlike Emmett who wanted to know ASAP. I would love to be your maid of honor, though if you guys want to marry this winter, so November or December. We only have a few months of time to plan, which should be enough if all goes well, Rosalie says as Alice and I nod our heads in agreement. So who are the groomsmen? Emmett says, taking a notebook out of somewhere and writing things down. Where'd the notebook come from? I ask him, while Rosalie is just rubbing her forehead in annoyance. Rosalie told me to have one from now on me at all times. So I can write all my stupid thoughts down and not say them before reading them over first. Though answer my question, Emmett says, shrugging his shoulders in indifference. Jasper and I are trying not to laugh hearing him, and Rosalie just nods her head confirming what he said. Well, I guess. Jasper, Charlie, Jacob, Lucas, and Sam. They are my closest male friends and family, I say after giving it a quick thought. Okay, that helps me know what I should and shouldn't do, Emmett says, finishing writing down their names and closing his notebook. What the fuck does that mean? I say, giving him a questioning look. You're not allowed to know, not yet, Emmett says, crossing his arms, and looking over at Jasper, he just shrugs his shoulders. Maybe I should reconsider who is my best man, I say to Emmett, who doesn't take my words for any value. Too late now, it's already been decided, Emmett says, denying what I said. Well, fuck me, I guess, I say, sighing, and everyone laughs. Well, we can leave, so Alice can help you with that, Emmett says, and runs away as Rosalie has had enough of him, trying to chase him down and beat him for not listening, in the loving way she does. On that note, we'll see you guys at home, Edith says as she and Jasper leave to head home. I'll give you two choices, here or home, Alice says, giving me a lust-filled look again while biting her lower lip. Fuck waiting, I say as I walk over to her and kiss her passionately and take my shirt off. Ch.58. Audio book here. The starting of the chapter was R18, so I cut it out. The rest of the night was a blur of passion. We only stopped once the sun rose into the sky and realized we have been here all night. The landscape is slightly broken and misshapen from our night of passion. I see our clothes have been completely torn apart too in a fit of passion. I like that outfit too, Alice says as she lies on top of me naked, having finished the nightly session. I liked it too, but I prefer your birthday suit, I say, smirking at her. I'm very much aware of how much you like my birthday suit, but we have to head home now. I don't think we can head home naked either, as that would be embarrassing, Alice says, rolling her eyes at me but smiling at me lovingly still. Magic, I say with a laugh and a wave of my hand. Forming the clothes we ripped off each other last night, back together, and onto our bodies. Sometimes I forget you have become a god, Alice says and exaggerates the term god. Once we get married you will become a goddess too, you know, I say to her, and she just nods her head. So you said, though Matt, why isn't my underwear back on me? Alice says, giving me a questioning look and smirk. Ease of access, I say while walking back to the car with her. Ease of access, when are you accessing them? Alice says, giving me another seductive look as we enter the car. ASAP, though unfortunately, we have a lot to do today. With planning for the Volturi attack, our wedding, Eva and Charlie's wedding, which is next month, I say with an exaggerated sigh. How unlucky for you, Alice says with a laugh as I am driving us home. Arriving home we got showered and dressed in new clothes. Going to everyone we knew, we told them about our engagement and our wedding which we wanted to have this winter, and they all congratulated us. My grandfather headed to the clan this week alone, so he could inform them of our official alliance and the war we are going to have to prepare for. While also bringing those who would fight and attend the wedding for Eva and Charlie later this month. Ever since Jacob met Astrid, he has mellowed out and become more accepting of the Cullens, due to not having his issues with Edward. He still hasn't made any big progress with the mindscape he has while meditating. Though he is no longer hunting the wolf as it told him that he could become its champion, and now he is researching each god and who to choose as his deity to become the champion of. After graduation and Volturi wanting an update on whether Bella is turned yet has made Edward very tense. He is still against turning her, saying he will turn her after they marry, since he wants her to experience life as a human a bit first. Bella is upset with that idea. Then 2 weeks have gone by and Ivar said half the clan who are shifters are going to join us in the war and for the wedding of Eva and Charlie. They are all going to be staying with me at my house, which means everything is going to be crazier here. Though Alice and I are sitting outside with me reading and smoking a cigar, Alice is also reading a book and sitting in my lap, I can see Bella pull up at our house alone. Alice, Matt, you're both here, thank God. I need your guys' help, Bella says, somewhat upset and angry. While she gets out of her truck and walks over to us. Shit, should I let Alice turn here like I told Edward we would do if he didn't? Or should I show her I'm a god and ascend her to godhood? No, Alice will be the first I have become a god, then I'll ascend some others, I think to myself as Bella is making her way towards us. Bella, is everything okay? Alice asks her as I'm thinking about what this is all about. Yes and no, Bella says to us once she gets to where we are sitting, annoyed by Edward the First would assume. Gonna need more info than that, Bells, I say, sighing, having already guessed what this is gonna be. Edward is refusing to turn me, saying we should wait until after we are married. From what I heard, well, vampires are stronger than humans and I mean, the first time we, you know. I want him to have fun too, Bella says, trying to explain that she wants to be a vampire so the sex between her and Edward isn't one-sided. Still not following, I say with a smirk, and Bella just gives me an angry glare. Ignore him, I get it. Though Edward doesn't want to turn you because of his issues regarding vampires. I'm guessing you want one of us to turn you, Alice says while covering my mouth so I don't say anything else stupid. Shit, am I becoming Emmett? I think to myself and have an existential crisis. I mean, yeah, would you be okay with doing that? I know Edward will be angry, but I think he would understand eventually, Bella says while I'm questioning myself about how much Emmett has influenced me. I can turn you, though Bella, once you turn there is no going back. So you have to be absolutely sure you want this, Alice says and gives Bella a very serious look. I understand, and yes, I've been thinking about this, I want this, Bella says with a completely determined look. Okay, then I'm gonna get Rosalie and Edith, they can help you along with me once you turn. You will need to feed almost immediately and learn to control yourself, which we can all help with, Alice says, getting out of my lap and motioning for Bella to follow her. Bella, are you sure? I don't think you really have thought about this. This isn't like a tattoo that seems permanent but can be removed later. This is something once done, can never be undone, I say to Bella, stopping her to see if she has any hesitation at all. I know, Matt, I want this, Bella says, and I don't see any hesitation. Sighing once looking at her seriously, I nod and let her leave with Alice. Texting Emmett and Jasper to meet me outside where I'm sitting, they quickly make their way to me. What's going on, Matt? Why is Bella here? Jasper asks me as he and Emmett approach me. Alice, Rosalie, and Edith are going to help her turn. Edward is being Edward and she came here to be turned. So we should wait here in case the idiot shows up and tries to start trouble, I say, lighting up a new cigar and sighing. Both Emmett and Jasper nod their heads seriously and light cigars as well. So why all of a sudden does she want to be turned? Emmett says after a few minutes of silence. So her and Edward's honeymoon will be, fun, I say with a sigh. Jasper nods his head in understanding and Emmett just laughs. Ch.59. After an hour of Alice, Rosalie, and Edith prepping the area and Bella for the turning they were going to start. However, just as they were going to start to turn Bella, as Emmett, Jasper, and I were standing outside smoking, Edward showed up. He seemed a little crazed as he ran from the woods and saw us, making his way toward us. Guys, is Bella here? I know she came here. Where is she? Edward says, firing one sentence after the other in a pissed-off state. Well, it would seem you have your answer. Alice, Rosalie, and Edith are in the process of turning her, I say and sigh as I put my cigar down, seeing Edward become even more angered. Get the fuck out of my way, Edward screams in anger, as he tries to rush inside the house. Though Emmett and Jasper are holding him back. Edward, you can hate us all you want after this, but remember I told you I would turn Bella with or without your approval, I say, and he turns to me with nothing but extreme hate. Matt, you stupid asshole. What the fuck do you know about being a vampire? You just cursed your cousin to an eternity of suffering, Edward says with venom in his voice and trying to break out of the grips of Emmett and Jasper, to no effect. I know that she would come to resent you and find any means necessary to turn into a vampire for you. That your stubborn stupidity on your feelings of vampires would keep you both from finding true happiness. I say with an annoyed growl. Though Edward narrows his eyes and seems to want to respond, but I continue. That if somehow she remained a human, that one day she would die and then you too would die from suicide. If you die, then the people who care for you will fall into a depression like Alice. Plus I'm not going to let my cousin die, to satisfy your self-righteousness. I'm immortal now too, and I don't want to lose everyone I know one day if I can help it. I say, trying to get him to see things from another view, than his one side. After a few moments of tense silence, and slightly more struggles from Edward, he calms down a bit. The tension released from his body and acceptance dawned on his face. Seeing this, I motioned for Emmett and Jasper to release him. I could still stop him if needed anyway. The others couldn't hear this, since they were turning Bella in the basement, but I could hear it. I heard Bella's last breath as she died a human and will now wake up as a vampire. Maybe you're right, but how do you know she won't regret this one day? What if she wants kids and I could never give that to her? Now she won't be able to either way, Edward says as he sighs and sits on the ground emotionally drained. She might regret turning years, decades, or centuries from now, maybe never, I would never know. All I know is, now you both can spend eternity with each other, I say, patting his shoulder in reassurance, as he just sighs. Plus it's too late now, I can hear her heartbeat has stopped and she is one of you all now, I say, and they each look at me surprised, though Edward rushes into the house. I don't stop him as I said it's too late now. They are in the basement. I shout after Edward, who is looking around for them, and he rushes to the basement upon hearing me. You know Edward isn't wrong about having kids, Rosalie always wanted them, but now we can never have a real family of our own, Emmett says with sadness in his voice. Jasper just pats his shoulder, and so too do I. Soon I will make you all gods, I think to myself, and sighing to myself seeing Emmett in emotional pain. Walking inside, we head to the basement after Edward, who is already there with Bella. As we enter the basement, I can see Bella and Edward standing by a mirror looking at her. Bella has blood staining her mouth a bit, seems they gave her some blood after turning. Alice, Rosalie, and Ed either standing by a table where they turned Bella and are just watching them. They all turn to us as we enter the basement, but Bella looks nervous seeing me, and that confuses me a bit. Matt, maybe you shouldn't be here. I just turned and could lose control hurting you, Bella says nervously, and Edward puts a reassuring hand on her shoulder. Though the others just smirk at her, knowing how strong I am, especially Alice. Bella, you should be worried you might hurt yourself. Matt is like a fucking unstoppable train on the move, Emmett says with a laugh and breaking the tension that Bella had, as she gives me a curious look. You're saying he's stronger than you? Bella asks Emmett, knowing his power after turning is having superior strength to a normal vampire. In his bear form, unimaginably stronger than me, and in his human form, well, still stronger than me, but maybe not much, Emmett says with a thoughtful look as I roll my eyes at the situation. Then I slowly approach Bella, making her take a step back, still nervous. Bells, just relax, you won't hurt me and I would never hurt you. You're my sister, I say to her and slowly approach her. She relaxes a bit. Then standing in front of her, I give her a familiar hug and she tenses up in the hug but then relaxes, returning the hug. From what they were telling me, humans smelled good, like good food, wolves smelled like dogs, and you all smelled like bears. Though you smell like a winter breeze, fresh air, and snow, Bella says while sniffing me in the hug. You're the same weirdo as you were before you turned, glad you didn't change much, I say with a chuckle, and she hits me in the chest, though with her full strength, as she still hasn't learned to control herself. The sound of her hitting me was like a loud bang or shotgun blast, and she quickly panics, pushing off me and inspecting me to see if she hurt me. Matt, did I hurt you? Bella yells and lifts up my shirt, inspecting me nervously. Relax, I'm fine, I'm much more durable than you can imagine. Plus looks like you hurt yourself instead, I say, pointing to the hand she hit me with, as it is cracked from the strength behind the hit and my durability. Seeing that she begins to panic about that. Calm down, Bella. Vampires can reattach limbs in the worst case scenario. As long as they have the missing limb and enough blood to start the healing process. This is a minor injury considering everything, you just need a little more blood and your hand will be good as new in an hour or so, Edith says, taking her hand and inspecting it while handing her the blood they have down here. Calming down a bit and drinking the blood Edward hands her quickly, she turns to me. Damn, Matt, what are you made of? I was told vampires are their strongest at the beginning of turning. Or all bears like you? Bella says to me, having relaxed and returned to her normal self. No, not everyone is like me, I'm a special case. Though they are more durable than the wolves and stronger. You would kill a wolf easily if you knew how to fight, while a bear would be your equal in a one-on-one. Though that's the thing, wolves are never usually alone, but in a pack of 3 or more, and neither are vampires really alone, usually in pairs at least, I say, explaining the very basics of strength between their known species that they all know so far. considering there are many types of shifters and other supernatural beings in the world. Makes sense, I guess, Bella says with a shrug. I'm sure you and Edward have a lot to talk about, plus if you want an in-depth discussion or knowledge of the supernatural world, ask either Carlisle or either of my grandparents. They all know a lot about the supernatural world and I'm sure would love to give you a history lesson, I say to Bella and gesture for everyone to leave the basement, giving her and Edward a moment alone. Yeah, maybe one day, Bella says, nodding to me as we all leave the basement, giving her and Edward some alone time. How good is the foundation of this house? Emmett asks me as we leave the basement and I just roll my eyes, ignoring him. Why does that matter? Edith says, confused and not knowing what Emmett is implying. You know, in case they start to shake the house, it doesn't collapse on us or them, Emmett says suggestively, and we all sigh at him. Now Edith is looking at him with a deadpan look. This is why we don't hang out as much anymore, Edith says, annoyed, and walks away from Emmett, who is just laughing. Sighing, I just walk back outside to finish my cigar and Jasper joins me, with Emmett quickly following us outside too. No, seriously though, did we do the right thing? Emmett says with some surprising seriousness in his voice once we are back outside smoking our cigars. That we will never know, as there are too many paths in life, and each decision we make only opens up more paths to walk down. Some decisions close off other paths permanently, like turning into a vampire, but we only know the outcome when we reach the end. Right now I believe we are still at the beginning of our paths and haven't even reached the middle, I say, thinking about the fates and the many lines they control and weave. How some paths seem different, but all ultimately lead to the same outcome. Jasper nods his head, agreeing with me, while Emmett is trying to understand what I said. Never thought you were a philosopher. Guess reading as much as Jasper does you pick up on some things, Emmett says with a shrug and puff of smoke. Maybe if you didn't spend all your time jerking it or working out, you could learn a thing or two too, Jasper says with his surprisingly once in a while comebacks. I break out laughing hearing Jasper, and Emmett looks completely offended. He's right, you know, we found your hidden laptop that has only porn on it. Your hiding spot is shit too, you know, I say, still laughing, and now Emmett seems very nervous. Does Rosalie know? No, if she knew I'd be castrated already. Don't tell her and I'll do anything you guys want, Emmett says with desperation in his voice. Jasper just snorts in disapproval at Emmett. Why do you even need that much porn anyway? I say, still laughing. Well, it started years ago, when they first made porno movies. Then Rosalie and I started doing the things in the movies, like role play, you know. From there she got bored with the role play in the pornos. Though I secretly have come addicted. Okay, I just wish we could role play like we used to, and now they have all this crazy porn out there. So many different things we could do and try, Emmett explains to us. Now Jasper is just staring at him in surprise and shocked expression. I too am shocked at how much time Emmett has spent on this topic and study. Have you ever tried bringing it back up to her again? Maybe she'd be open to trying it again, I say after processing what he told me. No, I haven't. Every time I was going to bring it up I got distracted and forgot. Then when I go back to the computer I find more crazy things, then all things on there start to pile up, and I don't think she'd be cool with half of them, Emmett says, thinking this over. Jesus Christ, Jasper says, overwhelmed with Emmett's confession. Well, you should give her the laptop and explain it all. Do it now or we'll do it for you. You obviously are digging yourself into a hole. The only way up is to confess. You can't keep digging deeper, that's not how you get out, I say, sighing and rubbing my forehead at the craziness of Emmett sometimes. Fuck, I guess you're right. Wish me luck, Emmett says as he goes to confess to Rosalie. So I put 1,000 down Rosalie is gonna crush his balls, Jasper says as Emmett leaves. I'll take that bet, I say, shaking it as we continue to smoke. Holy shit, Emmett, what the fuck? Rosalie yells from their room, which we all hear. Ch.60. Matt Pov. Since the confession of Emmett to Rosalie, a few weeks have passed, bringing us a few days from Charlie and Eva's wedding. My clan came down, they all stayed with me, and now the house was a rowdy, insane place. My family drank and partied with the Cullens pretty much every day leading up to the wedding. Astrid and Emmett had many rematches, much to Jacob's worry. Seems he and Astrid have officially started dating since they met. Jacob hasn't made any major progress in his championship either. 2 days before the wedding, Billy was his best man and invited us groomsmen to the bachelor party he was having for Charlie, while Jacob, Carlisle, and I were his groomsmen, as Charlie wasn't a social butterfly much like Bella. Arriving early at Billy's house to get away from the insanity that became my home, I see Billy outside in his usual spot smoking. Matt, you're an hour early, everything okay? Billy asks me, surprised I'm here this early. Yeah, the house has become a combined college fraternity and sorority, with all the drinking, fighting, and overall non-stop partying, I say with a heavy sigh and sit next to him on the porch and lighting up a cigar. Guess your family is a rowdy bunch, though from what I know of Astrid, can't say I'm surprised, Billy says with a chuckle. Yeah, they like to party and wrestle with one another on the regular anyway. Though it gets crazier when a wedding is approaching apparently, I say with an annoyed sigh and puff of smoke. Plus they are all living in the same place, the competitiveness is only increasing. When everyone is at the clan they all return to their own homes, now they are all together all the time, it's just crazier. Plus I have Emmett and Jasper who love bets, so they are only increasing the craziness, I say with a roll of my eyes. Though I never knew my uncle was that close with Carlisle enough for him to be a groomsman, I say somewhat surprised at the relationship that the two had apparently. Well, your uncle isn't really a sociable person, like Eva, and I find their relationship funny and nice as they complement each other. Though if I had to assume since Charlie found out about the supernatural world, the relationship between him and Carlisle only grew, because they are the parents of two kids in a relationship with two of the other's kids, Billy says with a sage nod, which I just nod agreeing with him as everything he said makes sense. I look forward to seeing how Eva breaks Charlie out of his shell and makes him less socially awkward. She already has, considering he is more comfortable in groups of people he doesn't know, Billy says seemingly happy for the two who are about to be married. Billy is nothing but a good man, fuck it, I think to myself. Billy, I've been researching ways of reproduction and general information about the human body, so maybe one day Alice and I could have kids of our own. I know you're aware my family is good with magic through the use of runes. What I'm saying is I have a way for you to possibly walk again. Though it's not 100% guaranteed to work and would take me 5 minutes, so we could try now, I say to him lying through my teeth, knowing that my magic would make him normal again with a guarantee to work. Though hearing me he just stops smoking and stares at me with a surprised look, trying to see if I'm being serious and processing what I just said. Matt, if what you're saying is real, then I wouldn't know how to repay you, Billy says regaining his composure. Won't know till I try, and Billy, you're the father of one of my best friends. Your family now soon too, so don't worry about ever repaying me. Now, what say you? I say to him and he gives me a contemplative look, but then nods seriously. Fuck it, what do I have to lose? Billy says, putting down his pipe and giving me a nod. So, what do you need me to do? Billy then asks me. Not much, just take your shirt off and lay down on the couch on your stomach, I say, since really for me now it won't take more than a flick of the wrist. As making a planet from scratch is pretty much what I did in Jotunheim, so in comparison this is nothing. Okay, you may feel pins and needles, like when your arm falls asleep, I say after he lies down on the couch. Okay, Billy says nervously and excited at the possibility of walking again. Then without further speaking my hands give a soft blue glow as I use my powers to manipulate reality and fix his spine, while also returning the muscle mass to his legs from unuse. Took me a few seconds, but to make it seem like it takes more time, I just left the glowing hands on. Making his legs slowly come back to life, having the pins and needle feeling going down his legs. Okay, try standing, I say after 10 minutes, and he just takes a deep breath. But after feeling his legs again, he becomes excited and practically jumps off the couch. Holy shit, I can walk, Billy yells, extremely happy, and runs around his house, like a little kid, and doing all sorts of jumps, kicks, and stretches. Matt, thank you so much, I can never repay you for this, Billy says, running over to me and hugging me, with some tears coming down his eyes. Patting his back I return the hug. You know we should mess with the guys, I say after we break the hug, and he just nods his head with a smile. Billy mess around for another 10 minutes or so, before returning to his wheelchair as it was time for everyone else to show up. Then one by one they showed up. First was Jacob, who had some bruises on him, guessing from a few fights he joined in. Next was Carlisle, and finally was Charlie, who showed up a few minutes after Carlisle. Took you long enough, Billy says with a chuckle as Charlie is walking over to us. Yeah, Eva dragged me to Matt's house, and well, there were a lot of people I had met, Charlie says, and I laugh. That's why I left early, too many crazy bastards at my house now, I say with a laugh. Yeah, they all hit hard and don't hold back. Especially when they heard I was going to be joining the clan in a way, Jacob says, rubbing his bruised body. Yeah, that's their way of welcoming you, much like hazing in other groups, I say with a laugh. Really, cause none of them did it to you from what I hear, Jacob says to me with an annoyed look. They tried, but being a godly bear, I'm untouchable, plus it hurt them more than me, I say with a laugh and emphasize the godly part, hinting at what I am now. Ha, ha, whatever, Jacob says, annoyed and still sore. Okay, shut up, Jacob. We have a lot to do today, as it's his last few days before his freedom is gone, Billy says, and Jacob just gives his father an annoyed look now too. What's first? Carlisle asks curiously about what Billy has planned, as we all are. First is pre-gaming. Then we eat at Charlie's favorite steakhouse. Then finally end the night at the strip club, and get Charlie a few private dances, Billy says, opening a cooler with beers and other liquors. Like the blood-infused ones for Carlisle, as he asked me to bring him a few. Should Matt and Jacob be drinking? Carlisle asks, giving us a thoughtful look. As Jacob's father, I'm fine with it, plus they won't be able to drink at the strip club, Billy says with a shrug and tosses a beer to Jacob and me. Either way, I can't get drunk unless it is a liquor my family makes especially for us shifters, I say with a shrug, and now they all have an understanding look. Then after we all finish the drinks in the cooler, making Charlie and Billy are slightly drunk. Though Carlisle is a little buzzed, but both Jacob and I are completely unaffected. You have that special liquor? Jacob whispers to me, once we finish the cooler. Yeah, I'll give it to you at the strip club, I whisper back to him, and we fist bump. Carlisle can hear but just shakes his head, not saying anything. Let's see some tits and ass, Billy says, slightly drunk, and Charlie laughs, about to help him roll the wheelchair to the car. Nah, I got this, the liquor gave me strength, Billy says, stopping Charlie and then standing up and walking to the car, as everyone stops and stares in disbelief. What? Billy says, confused, forgetting he didn't tell them he can walk again. Dad, you're walking, Jacob yells at him in surprise and confusion. Huh, yeah, Matt helped me walk again. I thought I told you all, Billy says in confusion, and now they are all looking at me with surprise and confusion. Magic, I say with a wave of my hand, making it glow blue again. You're a wizard, Charlie says in surprise and confusion, since he is slightly drunk too, like Billy. Sure, I'm a wizard, though most of my clan are wizards then. We all learned how to use runes, and they are a form of magic. I just have been researching them a lot recently for some personal reasons, and they gave me the knowledge to help Billy here. Which I did before you all showed up, I say with a shrug, still getting confused looks from Carlisle and Jacob, as Charlie and Billy now messing around, not listening anymore. I have many questions, but we'll ask later, Carlisle says with a defeated sigh, and makes his way to the car that Charlie and Billy are waiting in now. Ask Astrid, I say to Jacob before he can ask me more questions. Sighing, he follows me to the car, and it would seem I'm the designated driver. Driving us to the steakhouse that Charlie likes in town. Arriving, we use the reservations that Billy made earlier. At the table, Billy and Charlie order whiskey and steaks, as Jacob and I only order steaks. Carlisle orders steak too, but then gives it to me when no one is looking at our table. Once we spend an hour there eating and drinking for Billy and Charlie, who are now completely drunk. I drive us to the popular strip club in town. Entering, there are many topless women walking around serving drinks and giving lap dances. With several caged stages with dancers and one main stage for one dancer at a time. To the right is the bar. After handing our IDs to the bouncer, at least for Jacob and me, I used magic to change us to 21 on the ID, so when I pull the liquor bottle out they don't get upset. Once inside, Billy is at the main stage with Charlie, and they both start throwing money that I'm providing at the dancer. She is an extremely beautiful young woman in her 20s, with large breasts, double DDS maybe, blonde hair, and a very curvy body. Seeing them through their 20s like they are ones, she shows her attention to the two over the other men on the stage, much to the other men's annoyance. Carlisle, can you keep an eye on the for me, I say with an annoyed sigh, and he laughs, nodding and making his way over. Taking a liquor bottle from my jacket, really a special space I can store items, I show Jacob, who smiles and nods his head. We sit at a table in the back watching Billy and Charlie throwing several $1,000s at this point on stage, much to the young woman's delight. I gave everyone both 10 grand for the strip club, never thought the two would go through most of it in the first hour. Matt, I hear a familiar woman's voice behind me. Ch.61. Matt Pav. Matt, I hear a familiar woman's voice behind me. Turning to the voice, I see Angela Weber from school and one of Bella's two female human friends from school. Further behind her, I see Jessica Stanley, the other human friend of Bella, serving drinks in a skimpy outfit to men at another table. Seeing them, I'm slightly shocked, but not as shocked seeing Jessica here. Angela, what are you doing here? I say, very confused, and now Jessica sees me and Jacob, giving us an annoyed look. Huh, Jessica started working here after school ended for a summer job before college and asked me to work here with her, Angela says, embarrassed that someone from school that she knows caught her here. Oh, well, that's not a bad idea to make money before college. You look good, I say, not sure what to say now. Though my compliment makes her blush. Thanks, so do you. If you guys need anything, just ask me. Though I'm surprised seeing you here, didn't take you for a type of guy to come to this place. Did you and Alice break up? Angela says to me with some hope in her eyes at the last question. Yeah, I'm here with some friends and my uncle. It's his bachelor party, so this is our last stop, I say and gesture to Charlie and Billy. Now Charlie is getting a lap dance by the young blonde stripper and Billy is cheering them on. With Carlisle just laughing watching this. Seeing this, I just stare in shock a bit at Charlie's drunken antics. Oh, that makes sense then. Though how come you're not getting any attention? Angela asks me with a blush still. Well, not really my type of thing, sure these women are beautiful. Plus I prefer watching, and Alice would probably be a bit upset if I got a lot of lap dances, I say while also saying Alice and I are still together. Jacob nods his head in agreement, thinking about how Astrid would react hearing if he got lap dances. Oh, yeah, makes sense, just call me if you guys need anything, Angela says, a bit disappointed hearing I'm still with Alice, and gives us a smile before heading back to the bar. I can hear Angela and Jessica gossiping about me at the bar, but I no longer pay them mind and go back to watching Charlie being a drunk idiot. Wish they let us keep our phones, I'd kill for some pictures of this, I say with a laugh as now the young woman is dancing on Billy's lap much to his enjoyment. Yeah, that'd be great payback or blackmail material, Jacob says with a laugh and now buzzed from the special liquor I've been giving us. Unfortunately, as a god, it does nothing to me and I would need an absurd amount to feel anything or special liquor that is made from my powers. After another hour, Jacob becomes drunk also, joining the other two drunks in getting lap dances and throwing the money around. While Carlisle and I are watching them with smirks and the only sober ones. Matt, I paid a nice girl to give you a lap dance. You better go do it, Charlie says to me with a drunken slur and points to the private area. I'm fine, you or someone else can do it, I say trying to brush it off. No, as the groom, all my groomsmen must get one lap dance, Charlie says with his drunken slur. Sighing, I just nod seeing them all agree with him, even Carlisle is having a smirk on his face at my annoyance. Fine, but just this one, I say with an annoyed look. They all just nod their heads agreeing with me. I can just pay the girl more money to leave and let me relax in the booth for a bit by myself, I think to myself after going to the back of the club in a private booth. After another minute the curtain opens showing Jessica and we both stare shocked. I say still processing this, though she looks angry about this and walks into the booth closing the curtain behind her. Just don't talk and let's get this over with, Jessica says coming over to me about to sit in my lap. Hold on, first of all, I didn't ask for this, the idiots I'm with made me do this. Second, you don't have to dance for me, I can just pay you to leave. Third, I thought you and Angela were only servers, I say stopping her before she can sit on my lap. Quote. Really, you don't want me to give you a lap dance? Why, am I that ugly? Jessica says to me and now more annoyed. What? No, that's not why, I just have no interest in this, I say holding up my hands very confused. You never seem to like me. Why? Why, Alice, Jessica says now sitting in my lap, much to my annoyance and confusion as she still looks angry. Love at first sight, I say trying to come up with a reason, but none makes sense without explaining the truth, which I won't, and the reason I gave is still a truth also. Also, it was hard to think as so many thoughts were going through my head and now she is grinding into me, giving me an actual lap dance. What the fuck is happening right now? I think as that's the most prevalent thought in my head. Really, that's your reason? Jessica says to me with a deadpan expression and removes her top, much to my surprise and confusion as she still seems upset. What the fuck is going on? Why are you doing this? I say so confused and now she looks more upset. Well, it's my job. Yeah, I started out here as a server, but today is my first day as a dancer. You are my first client and this will pay more. But am I not attractive? Most guys like what they see, Jessica says, and is now pushing her breasts into my face and grabbing my hands to put them on her waist. Grinding into my lap harder, trying to get a certain reaction out of me. This bitch just wants attention and to be wanted, I realize, and now I'm just annoyed, but feel bad for her as this could lead her down a path of self-destruction. Not that it is my responsibility, but as a friend of Bella I would feel bad for being slightly responsible for her self-destruction. Listen, you're a very beautiful woman, but I just have eyes for Alice. I have no problem with someone making a living doing this, but getting too much attention might attract the wrong kind of attention, I say to her while she is pushing her tits into my face and my aggravation is rising. If you found me attractive you'd have a boner right now, but don't, so I don't believe you, Jessica says with a sly look. And starts to bring her hands down to my pants. This crazy bitch. Sorry Bella, I tried, I think to myself as I grab her hands, stopping her and giving her a very deadly look, which makes her freeze. Listen, I tried being nice, but you're fucking insane. Here, take this, and I swear if you approach me at all again in the future we are going to have some serious problems, I say with venom in my voice and pushing her off me as gently as possible, throwing a weight of cash at her, about $200. I leave the room very pissed off, approaching the table of drunk idiots I came here with. They all cheer when seeing me, not noticing I'm pissed, except for Carlisle. I'm going outside, I need to air, I say to Carlisle with slightly less anger than I had with Jessica. The others weren't paying attention to me after I came back, but Carlisle nods his head, looking at me concerned about what happened. Heading outside, I stop by a corner of the club in the back and pull out a smaller cigar for a quick smoke. Damn, Jasper got me addicted to tobacco, seems a god can't escape its deadly clutches, I think to myself and calm down a bit. After a few minutes, I hear someone approaching me, and from the sounds a woman. My anger flaring again, remembering what I told Jessica, I turn with a very hostile look thinking it was her. Jessica, what the? I say, turning around with extreme frustration and anger, but stop seeing it is Angela. Hey Matt, Jessica just told me what happened. I wanted to apologize on her behalf. I don't know what she was thinking, but she has never done something like that before, Angela says to me with an apologetic look. Taking a deep breath and puffing on the cigar, I then give a heavy sigh. Yeah, whatever, just make sure I never see her again. I don't plan on coming back to this place either, so you guys don't have to worry about that. Though Angela, you are a smart, young, and beautiful woman. I recommend you leave this place and reconsider your friendship with Jessica, she is not a stable or smart girl. You have a bright future ahead of you, as long as you don't follow the footsteps of the attention-seeking moron, I say, calming down a bit after seeing it wasn't Jessica and giving the best advice I could to her. Thanks for the compliment, but I have never seen Jessica do something like that before, Angela says after thinking about what I said. I just shrug, as I said what I said, and what happens next is in their hands. You're an adult, we all make our own choices and can blame no one but ourselves for the outcome of those choices, I say after finishing my cigar and tossing it away. She seems very thoughtful now. Can you do me a favor, and tell the guys I came here with that I'm heading home? I'll leave the car here for them, and can you give the keys to Dr. Carlisle, as he is the only sober one, I say to her and hand her the keys, knowing she is a responsible and trusting person. Sure, have a good night Matt, Angela says to me as I walk away. You too, I say, walking away, before turning the corner and making sure no one is around before teleporting to my room. Alice, I'm in our room, I need to talk, I say in our mind link while giving a heavy sigh and sitting on the bed. Not even a few seconds later she appears in the room and rushes over to me. Matt, you okay? What's going on? Alice says, tackling me in a hug, and I just hold her close, relaxing with her in my arms. All my anger and frustration melted away. Easier to show you, I say as I transfer my memories of the time at the strip club, seeing the idiocy of Charlie and Billy made her laugh. Then when the time with Jessica appeared, an amount of anger I felt from Alice was nothing I'd felt from her before. That fucking bitch, I'm going to kill her. Alice yells with an extreme amount of anger, and if I didn't keep her in my hug, she'd have run over and probably killed Jessica. Calm down, my love. I get your anger, and I'd kill anyone who would do what happened to me if it happened to you. So I get what you're feeling, but she is on a path of self-destruction anyway from what I can see. If you want revenge then I won't stop you, but try to not kill her, I say, trying to reason with Alice, as if she killed Jessica it'd make me have to use a lot of my powers to cover this up and draw attention from other gods, which I don't need right now. Quote dot 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 dot. Fine, but I will get my revenge, Alice says, calming down a bit as I hold her and stroke her back. Though as she calms down, Rosalie, Edith, Jasper, and Emmett break down our door, rushing in after hearing Alice's outburst. All of them are ready for a fight and looking for an enemy. What's going on? Everything okay? Rosalie asks, relaxing a bit seeing it's just the two of us. Welp, Jessica is fucked, I chuckle to myself, knowing that Rosalie, Edith, and Alice are going to work together to plot to ruin her life. Ch.62. Matpov. After explaining the situation that happened at the strip club, even Emmett understood my anger. Later Carlisle called me telling me everyone got home safely and that tomorrow they all were going to suffer some major hangovers. When the day came, I headed downstairs with Alice for breakfast, and like the last several weeks most of my family was living with us. Entering the kitchen, Vera and Hugo, the parents of Astrid and Lucas, were cooking food for everyone, as most of the shifters in our clan were here for the wedding. Seeing my family messing around in the dining room and having normal arguments with each other, I just sit at the table and eat my fill as Alice sat in my lap. So you guys have a date yet for the wedding? Vera asks us as she comes out of the kitchen putting the last of the food on the table. The clan members take turns cooking for everyone each day. Today was Vera and Hugo's turn. Hearing Vera asks us that, everyone quiets down, curious as well. December 10th, Alice says while rubbing her hand through my hair and smiling. I nod my head in agreement. How exciting, maybe we should all stay until then, it's only a few months away, Vera says, and I stop eating, staring in shock. Seeing my face, everyone laughs. We're just kidding, well, maybe not all of us will leave. Astrid is probably gonna stay here after the wedding if that is okay. Lucas might stay too, Vera says, seeing my hopelessness at the idea of everyone living here for the next few months under one roof. Yeah, they can stay. Plus you are all family, you can all stay if you want, I say and smile at everyone, though on the inside dying a little bit at the idea. Everyone smiles back at me and smacks the table with their drinks, agreeing with what I said. We appreciate that, but we all have things to return to. Though maybe have your wedding at the clan grounds, fewer people to house, Hugo says, surprising me as he was one who wasn't a fan of vampires as well but seems to have come to understand the Cullens. Alice and I look at each other, as we haven't decided everything yet, and seem to come to an agreement. That would probably be a good idea, I say, and Alice nods her head, agreeing with me. Shit, then I have to look up places in Sweden for the bachelor party. Emmett says, rushing into the room, and everyone laughs at his statement. I know a few good places, Lucas says, and then both his parents turn towards him. His father gave him a knowing smirk and his mother narrowed her eyes at him. I mean, I have some friends that know some good places, Lucas says nervously under his mother's stare. The rest of the day went fairly normal, though the wedding of Charlie and Eva is being held at my house. So we all prepared the last few things needed for the wedding tomorrow. After having everything set up and ready for tomorrow, everyone had one last, light, celebration, and they all got hammered. Waking up outside by a pond completely naked, flashes of last night came into my head. I decided to drink a drink made by the ice giants that could get me drunk, and it did. Finding only my pair of boxers nearby, turning to the sound of someone in the water, I see Alice coming out of the small pond naked. Finally woke up, sleepyhead, Alice says, smirking at me, as my head is slightly fuzzy still. Though seeing her definitely brightened my morning. Fuck, I haven't gotten that drunk before. What happened, and where are the rest of my clothes? I say as I put on my boxers. Well, you stripped down and wrestled some of your family, as everyone got drunk. Of course, beating everyone, so you left with your winnings. Came to me and not so subtly asked me to celebrate with you on your winnings. Then we came here and had a very fun night. After some time you fell asleep and I couldn't let my teddy bear sleep outside alone, so I kept you company, Alice tells me after throwing her clothes on and giving me a kiss. Fuck, I wish I could remember the best part of the night, I say with a smirk, and she chuckles as we walk back home. Well, I can help you relive the good part of last night, tonight, Alice says with a seductive look. Pulling her close to me, I give her a passionate kiss, which she gladly returns before we make our way back home. Arriving at home, I see most of my clan members passed out half naked on the ground. Thankfully no one, myself included, ruined anything we set up yesterday for the wedding happening in a few hours. Having a devilish smile on my face. Hey everyone, we got a wedding today. Wake up, I yell, clapping my hands loud enough for everyone to jolt awake and grasp their heads from the hangover. Everyone turns to me and gives me a pissed-off look. "Fuck you, Matt," Lars says while grasping his head. Everyone nods their heads in agreement with him. After everyone slowly got up and ate the breakfast that was made, we all finished getting ready for the wedding today. Arriving first was the rest of the Cullens, including Bella, and now everyone knows she has turned. Bella has gotten better at controlling herself, though the scent of human blood could make her lose control. Helping her for today in case anything happens, I used my magic to keep her instincts under control. Telling her it was runes and they would disappear after today, that she still needs to learn as the rest of the Cullens did. I heard from Alice that the day before our bachelor party for Charlie was Eva's bachelorette party. Alice is one of the bridesmaids along with some other clan members of mine, though Eva's best friend who came down a week ago for the wedding is her maid of honor, the Crown Princess Victoria. Then the ones from the Quileute tribe that were invited arrived: Billy, Jacob, Sam, Emily, Leah, and Leah's mother. After everyone showed up, Victoria arrived with Eva as the bridesmaids went to my room to finish helping Eva get her wedding dress on amongst other things. Shortly after Eva, the groom arrived, and all the groomsmen went to the back of the house with Charlie as he was ready for the wedding. There we all shared one last cigar together before the wedding started. "You seem nervous. Thought after the marriage with Renee you would be less nervous. Though you seem more nervous than your first wedding," Billy says, seeing Charlie fidgeting around. "A little. When I married Renee I thought I loved her, and well, you all know how that turned out. Though with Eva I know I love her more than anything else, so I'm just a little excited and nervous," Charlie says with an awkward smile and a long puff of the cigar. "Just think of the honeymoon," Billy says with a chuckle, and I just sigh. Moving on from this topic, how are the legs? I ask Billy and know they are doing fine, but want to change the topic. Dr. Carlisle here did all sorts of tests and they seem to be just like they were before the accident, Billy says, giving me and Carlisle a thankful nod. I then hear Edward and Bella approaching us. "Hey, Dad, I just wanted to say congratulations before the wedding starts and everyone is ready when you are," Bella says, giving Charlie a hug, slightly nervous at first due to her turning, but seeing my reassuring nod she gives him a hug. "Thanks, Bella, let's get the show on the road," Charlie says after hugging Bella for a bit and putting down his cigar, motioning to us all to follow. Walking to the area we set up for the wedding, everyone who is not part of the ceremony is sitting and waiting for it to start. My grandmother is overseeing the wedding and going to wed them as she is standing near the area under an arch for the marriage ceremony. The bridesmaids waiting too by my grandmother. Charlie and all us groomsmen go to the arch and he stands in front of my grandmother who is smiling, extremely happy her daughter has found her mate. Then as the clan members who can play instruments begin to play as Eva and my grandfather walk down the pathway to Charlie. The ceremony goes off without a hitch, and as the line, "You may kiss the bride," is said, much to Eva and Charlie's personality, she grabs him by the collar, pulling him slightly, and with an aggressive passion, she kisses him. At the kiss, everyone stands and applauded for them. Now they were officially married and the partying began as my clan brings out food that could feed armies, but we all will finish easily. Then several kegs and barrels of mead were brought out with drinks being poured. After everything was brought out and before the feasting could begin, my grandfather cleared his throat wanting to make a toast. At first, I was worried my daughter might never meet her mate, but I gladly stand corrected. Upon meeting him first I was slightly annoyed as the man I just met not only wanted to marry my daughter but also got her pregnant before the marriage. Ivar says and everyone laughs, as Charlie looks completely embarrassed, though Eva just chuckles. You could realize I was not too happy with this development. He seemed to be the complete opposite of Eva, quiet and soft-spoken. Though they do say opposites attract, look at my wife and me for example. Then the more I learned about him, I found he was a very good man, and glad he has joined our family and clan. Ivar says and everyone cheers and smacks the table again with their drinks. To Eva and Charlie, may your love continue to blossom. Ivar finishes while raising his tankard and taking a long swig, finishing his mead in one go. Everyone in my clan follows suit, myself included. Though this is the special alcohol for me by the Ice Giants, I plan on pacing myself. With this toast, the feast began and everyone would come up, officially welcoming Charlie to the clan, and congratulating them both on the wedding and the pregnancy. Most of the clan, even after getting wasted the day before, got wasted again today. The feasting went on for hours, late into the night, and many different songs were played and sung by the drunk family members, like a karaoke party. Dancing with Alice in the center area with everyone else, we all partied into the night. Around 2 in the morning, Eva and Charlie left to head home and rest for the flight they have in the morning for their honeymoon. Everyone else either passed out drunk or left to their rooms for the rest of the night. Seeing Eva and Charlie's wedding has me excited for ours, Alice says to me as we lay in our bed after leaving the drunks outside. Same, though now I realize that we are holding our wedding at my clan, it might be even more insane. With more drunks and craziness, I say with a laugh and Alice laughs with me. So, want to relive what you forgot last night? Alice says to me after a short pause and a very seductive look. You don't even have to ask, you know the answer, I say, kissing her passionately. The night was a very long and restless one. Thankfully neither of us have to sleep or we'd be dead tired as the sun rose on us through the windows, making us realize we have been enjoying each other through the rest of the whole night. Ch.63. Matt Pov. A week after the wedding, everyone in my clan except Astrid and Lucas headed back home, even my grandparents. Lucas stayed because he wanted to continue to explore the US, but I knew it was because he was worried about his sister. Astrid stayed for Jacob and the two have gotten very close, especially after the wedding of Eva and Charlie. The house became much quieter with everyone gone. In a messed up way I got used to the craziness and now miss the loudness. Though Jasper is very happy the quietness is back, as he can now read in peace. Things seem to be going on, as usual, the only big news being Edward and Bella's announcement of their marriage. They want to get married this spring, a few months after Alice and my wedding. Other than that, a month before our wedding Jacob and Astrid approached me nervously one day. As Alice and I were sitting outside together enjoying each other's company with books and tea. Shit, don't tell me Astrid is pregnant now too, I think to myself, and before I can check to confirm my thought as they look at us nervously, Jacob speaks up. Matt, remember how I was confused about which god to become the champion of? Well, I have made my decision, but the one I want to be the champion of needs me to defeat the other god in combat. If I lose, the other god gains control of my body and who knows what they will do with it, Jacob says to me nervously, and Astrid is tense too. Oh thank God, didn't need the headache of Astrid getting pregnant before marriage, I think, sighing inwardly in relief. Oh, well, what did you need me for? I say, trying to understand what he wants to ask me about the situation he is in. Well, a couple of things. First, could you watch over me with Astrid in case I lose and you need to stop me? Sam told me you asked him to do that for you. Also, since you fought your god inside you, what can I expect or should know? Jacob asks me with some hope in his eyes at my confirmation. Though the reminder of my choice to leave Alice behind then, makes her pout at the memory. Seeing Jacob is willing to take Astrid with him, makes Alice look at me with a look saying, he's bringing her, but you didn't bring me. Sure Jacob, I can help watch over you. Though let's go somewhere quieter and away from others. I'll explain what happened with my situation, I say to him, ignoring Alice's glare at me and gesturing for him to follow. My only suggestion to you would be, to remember they are in your mindscape and you are the master of that land. So use mindscape to your advantage, and my gods, one wanted an honorable, hand-to-hand fight. The other, well, it was a tournament of death, with him at the end. Luckily I won the tournament and gained the powers I have now, I say to him as we walk to the place where I first taught him to meditate. Both Astrid and Jacob are listening intently to my story, while Alice is holding onto my back like a backpack, grumbling to herself at how I refused to take her to my awakening, but Jacob is bringing Astrid. Which god did you choose? I ask Jacob right after we arrive at the location and Astrid kisses him for good luck. He is sitting in his position for meditation but hears my question right before entering his mindscape. Yum Cox, he said, as his champion I will gain the powers nature, like a druid from fantasy stories, Jacob says after thinking about how to explain the powers he would gain. Well, good luck my friend, and return to us as yourself, I say to him, and he nods his head, before closing his eyes to meditate. How long will this take? Astrid asks, pacing around with worry after an hour passed, and Jacob remains unmoving. Not sure, everyone is different. It all depends on how long it takes him to defeat the opposing god, I say, and she is not too happy hearing my answer. He's gonna be fine, plus worst case Matt can try to return him to his normal self, even should he lose, Alice says, getting up and comforting Astrid. She knows I technically could reverse and banish the god from Jacob's body, but after my alliance with the Mayan pantheon, not sure it would be a good idea. I could try making a deal for the return of Jacob. Right, Matt, Alice says, seeing me thinking about the several situations that could occur after this. Astrid is looking at me with hope and nervousness at my not answering right away. Yes, worst case I can help Jacob, I say with a reassuring smile. Plus I'm glad Jacob brought his mate to such an important event. Some people have someone keep them from attending, Alice says to Astrid after some pause and giving me a narrow-eyed look. Alice, I love you more than anything else in existence, but since you feel the same way. If something would have happened to me you would defend me even if I went insane, I say, trying to defend myself. Wait, Matt didn't bring you to his, whatever this is, Astrid says and is surprised to hear that was the truth. I understand why he didn't, but it hurt me a lot that he didn't bring me. Even if something bad happened to him, I'd end my life in severe depression, Alice says with a sad thought about if I lost the battles I had. Okay, let's not talk about what ifs. Okay, I say, trying to change the subject. Fine, but, Alice says, but stops as we all turn to Jacob, who is stirring awake. Astrid looks completely nervous and rushes over to him, sighing seeing her do this, which is why I didn't want to bring Alice. If Jacob lost she'd be attacked immediately, though he became a god's champion, I can tell after he is waking up. Jacob, is that you? Astrid says, holding his face in her hands and looking at him nervously. What? Oh, yeah, it's me, Jacob says, confused and regaining his bearings after returning to the mortal realm. What do you mean by what? If it is really you, where did we first meet? Astrid questions him, though if a god took over him and didn't attack right away the god could access his memories, giving the right answer anyway. Though I can understand that she doesn't know that. At the falls, when you all were cliff diving, Jacob says, and rubbing his eyes after readjusting to his return. Good, it is you, Astrid says with a sigh of relief and hugs him, which he returns quickly. Welcome back, Jacob, I say after they are done hugging, and he smiles at me, giving me a fist bump. Thanks, Matt, or should I say Your Majesty Veternar, Jacob says as he fist bumps me. Astrid is confused at this statement and Alice looks surprised that Jacob knows the truth. I assume that Yum Cox told you about me after you succeeded in becoming his champion, I say to Jacob, smirking, and he just sighs after not seeing me surprised. You could at least pretend to be surprised, though I guess gods are hard to surprise, Jacob says, annoyed that he couldn't surprise me. Wait, what? Jacob, what the hell are you saying? That Matt is a god, Astrid says, very confused at what is happening. Oh shit, forgot she didn't know. Huh, can she know? Jacob says, remembering Astrid had no idea and looking at me embarrassedly. Yeah, it's fine, as your mate she will learn more about the gods, I say and shrug, as it is kinda true in a way. Though Astrid is getting annoyed at being ignored and begins to pinch Jacob's arm in protest. Hey, sorry, damn, yeah, he's a god, but not any god, apparently a very strong one too, Jacob says, rubbing his arm at Astrid, pinching him with all her strength. Astrid looks at me in surprise and a questioning look. Ask your questions, but I must warn you, Astrid, all that you learn here today cannot be repeated to anyone. I mean anyone, your brother, parents, grandparents, no one. The knowledge about gods is heavily regulated by us and only a select few can know the truths, like our champions and a handful that the champions trust, I say with a very serious look and voice. This makes her stare at me, still surprised, but hearing the seriousness of my voice and my look, she nods her head. How long were you a god? Have you always been a god? Who knows? What god are you? Are all gods real? How did you become a god? Astrid says, firing one question after the next, before taking a breath and looking at me expectantly. I've been a god for a few months, and I was destined to be a god since my creation. Only Alice knows the truth, and now you too. I'm called Veternar, the king of Jotunheim, which is the home of the frost ice giants. All gods, from all mythologies, are real, and some others that humans don't know exist yet. I became a god after besting Balder in a fight and banishing Loki from my realm, I say, answering all the questions she asked so far. Destined? What do you mean destined? The Norse gods are real, is that really how our clan got to be Werebears? You're a king, how strong does that make you? There are other gods that exist, but don't have mythology yet. Astrid asks me more questions, which makes me sigh, but answer them. Yes, destined, the fates are real and each mythology has a different term for them. In terms of power, the fates are very weak but are more powerful than any god as they weave the threads of the universe and multiverse. The only thing higher than the fates is creation itself, which isn't conscious, but more of a concept. I am considered a primordial god, meaning one of the strongest beings in existence. Only several others hold roughly the same power as me. There are many gods that exist but are known to other species that aren't human, like aliens to humans, but that is a whole other conversation and a long complicated one, I say, sighing as they all have more questions, even Alice. The next few hours were me answering all the questions they could think of, and the day was turning to night now, as we have been out here since the early morning. Seeing that they couldn't think of more questions, we all head home, but not before seeing what Jacob can do. He is really like a druid, as now he can control plants to a certain degree to help him if needed and talk to them too, learning about most of the surroundings. He can use magic to a certain degree too, to heal others, plants, and animals. No destructive spells really though, mostly support-like spells to buff allies and heal them. Alice and I then leave Astrid and Jacob to continue to test his powers, while doing whatever else they want before returning to the others. When we get married and I ascend to a goddess, will I be strong? Alice asks me after returned home and went back to relaxing together. I would assume you will become powerful, though I cannot say how powerful. Or what kind of powers you would gain, only the fates would know, and I'd rather not talk with them as they are very unsettling to be around, I say, and she just nods her head, as she imagines what goddess she will become. Ch.64. Matpov, as Alice, me and everyone else are helping plan our wedding in another month and a half. I feel a presence at my door suddenly appear, that no one else has noticed yet, a presence that I haven't felt since before I ascended to a god. Curious about why he is here to meet, I excuse the others who look at me confused but shrug off the curiosity. Been a long time, how've you been? I ask the long white-bearded man, who is wearing the common clothes of a standard middle-aged man. Seeing me, the one-eyed man smirks at my greeting. Aren't you going to invite me in? Odin asks me with his smirk still. Depends on what this is about, plus no one except Alice knows gods are real, I say with a sigh, as coming from the woods in a slightly drunken state is Thor. Odin turns and sees Thor, giving me an apologetic look. Couldn't really keep him from meeting the most powerful god that is now a part of our pantheon, Odin says with an apologetic look, as Thor stumbles his way over to us. Veternar, I, Thor the most powerful god, challenge you to a fight, Thor says with a slight slur and excitement at a fight, though his shouting has alerted the others to their presence. Fucking shit, you two idiots get inside. I guess I have to now come up with a lie, I say to them, motioning for them to come inside. Why, I know you intend to turn those in this house into gods after your marriage with Alice and fight with the Volturi. Might as well tell them that we are real and what they will become and join one day, Odin says with a knowing look, which just aggravates me. Both he and Thor enter our house. To keep Thor from being more idiotic, I flick his forehead, removing his drunken state completely. Hey, what was that for? Wait, you dick, now I have to break open another barrel. Thor says in annoyance at me for removing his drunken state. After this small outburst, the others came into the living room and see me rubbing my forehead as Thor is grumbling at what I did, and Odin is sitting on the couch flipping through TV channels. Oh, soon to be Queen Alice, nice to officially meet you and others that will ascend at some point, Odin says as they come into the room. Alice immediately connects the dots and looks at him surprised. The others seem completely confused about the situation. Matt, you as this old hobo and the young alcoholic hobo? Emmett asks as he sees them and smells the alcohol coming off of Thor. Thor smells like he bathes in liquor on a regular basis. Hey, I'm not a hobo, Thor says, annoyed at being called a hobo. Not gonna deny the alcoholic part. And you're not gonna deny being a hobo? I say to Thor and turn to Odin, who just shrugs off my question. No, I'm the god of thunder and mead, or at least I want to be the god of mead, Thor says, pulling a flask from thin air and taking a swig. Matt, isn't this a problem with the others here? Also, why are they here? Alice asks me, having walked over to me nervous at the situation. Oh, Queen Alice, I have heard much from my father. Nice to meet you, Thor says, smiling at Alice and shouting before I can say anything else. What the fuck is going on? They are saying they are gods, Matt, who are these delusional people? Edith says before I can say anything. Oh, these must. Thor is about to say something, but my patience runs out. Everyone shut the fuck up, I yell with a very annoyed look on my face. Everyone immediately stops and looks at me. For fuck's sake, Odin, I'm going to freeze your balls off, dropping in out of nowhere and causing this headache, I say with a heavy sigh and rubbing my forehead at the oncoming headache today is going to be. Long story short, everyone, yes, gods are real, yes, these two hobos are gods. I too have joined the realm of gods. I'm sure you have a lot of questions, Odin here with answering them all, I say taking a seat in front of the couch as Alice sits behind me running her hands through my hair and relaxing me. You're fucking joking, right? Emmett says as everyone is processing this information. No, he is not, Matter Vidurnar is that is his godly name. I can answer all the questions you all have, Odin says giving them all a sage smile. I still want to fight. Thor says now slowly getting drunk again. I will beat the shit out of you after they are done asking questions, and you have to sober up before we fight, I say with a heavy sigh, but relaxing once again as Alice is still messaging my head. Thor grunts at my response, but nods putting his flask away. After a few hours of questions and shows of power to all the Cullens, they seem satisfied with all the answered questions. Though I can tell they still have some questions for me personally. Answering some of those questions, they all have an understanding towards the end of everything. Though we didn't tell them I plan on ascending them yet. After this I took everyone to Jotunheim, so Thor and myself can fight without worrying about humans. Arriving in my throne room, we see Sarnald my head frost giant, this time I warned her I was coming with everyone and why. My king and queen, welcome back. We have made much progress since your last visit, Sarnald says to me while kneeling to me, though dwarfing everyone from her height, as I'm still in my human form. Hey, Sarnald, I should make Mad Lettuce visit this place more, it is so beautiful, Alice says smiling at her, and Sarnald smiles back her Alice. This place has become what you see today because of Vidurnar, without him our home would be the old desolate wasteland it once was, Sarnald says giving me a look of pure devotion and loyalty. Vidurnar is a boon to our pantheon, Odin says hearing Sarnald, who shoots him a slight glare, as the frost giants still don't like the Asgardians, but are not hostile on sight as they once were. It will take time for both sides to heal the millennia-old wounds, both have suffered from each other. Sarnald, tell everyone that Thor and myself are having a spar in the arena, I tell her, and she gets excited at the idea while giving Thor a bloodthirsty look. Of course, my king, Sarnald says bowing to me and speed walking out of the room, before running after leaving the throne room in excitement and spreading the news. Follow me, I say to everyone still in my human form, as I have to give Thor a chance somewhat. Leading them through the city I created, I can see that it has become much more of a city with frost giants trading, working, and going about their day as we make our way to the arena I set up. I made this place for friendly spars between giants and in case one giant wants to challenge another for whatever reason, killing is forbidden unless I or Alice authorize it. On our way there the frost giants we pass all stop to bow to me and Alice, smiling at Alice's family, but shooting small glares toward Odin and Thor. However, after the news spread they all rushed to the arena, which can hold 500,000 frost giants in the stands at one time. Using magic screens are displayed outside the arena for others who don't get inside to still see what is happening. Same with those who stay home using magic TVs, which exist here for this reason, and in case an announcement needs to be made. The Cullens are looking at everything in awe and excitement, asking me more questions about this place as we make our to the arena. Arriving at the arena, Alice brings them all to the platform where we would reside once she ascends to godhood and we rule over this world officially. The arena was designed much like the Roman Colosseum, but made from the same ice the city is made of and much larger. After waiting for the arena to fill up, Thor and I take positions on the opposite side of the field. The rules being all powers are allowed since a force field protects the audience from the fights in the arena. Though no killing or extreme damage can be done to one another, Thor will not be able to hurt me even at his full strength, considering my power. Seeing me still not changing to my true form right before the fight starts, Thor looks confused. Vidurnar, you should change to your true form, otherwise I might hurt you and end this fight quickly, Thor says with genuine concern about ending this fight early. It's fine Thor, even not in my true form I can access a lot of my powers, and as you said I don't want this fight to end too early or hurt you too much, I say back and he just laughs out loud and nods his head even more excited for this match. After that no more words were spoken, as Sarnald who is overseeing this fight, she making sure no one breaks the rules, motions for the fight to begin. Thor is not known for holding back, so as soon as the fight starts he rushes me calling his lightning down on me and raising Mjolnir to strike me with it. Not even holding back a little his full power is behind his lightning and hammer strike. I let his lightning hit me, as it does nothing to me, and catch Mjolnir in one hand as he comes down with it to strike me on the head. Seeing his full strength does nothing to me. I can see the surprise in Thor's eyes and then excitement at a very difficult fight ahead of him. Spartan kicking him in the chest away from me, using just enough strength to not severely hurt him, he flies away crashing into the arena wall with a loud bang. Picking himself from the ground, he spits out the blood that formed in his mouth and gives me an excited and bloodthirsty look. I can see Alice and everyone else watching this fight with excitement too. Sarnald and many of the frost giants are smiling seeing Thor being beaten so easily right now. Rushing towards me again, he calls lightning on me and Mjolnir as he throws it at me while running behind Mjolnir to me. Ignoring the lightning he called on me, I grabbed Mjolnir and stopped it, holding it to inspect it, seeing the power in Mjolnir that Odin had forged for Thor. Thor pauses for a brief second seeing me hold Mjolnir as if it weighed nothing. "Fuck me," I hear Thor mutter to himself as he pauses, but quickly breaks his stupor and continues to rush me. Smirking, I wait for him to reach me, before using Mjolnir to hit him on the back as I sidestep his punch at me. Crashing onto the ground from the strike, I step on his back preventing him from moving, and bring Mjolnir down right next to his head, leaving a large indent on the ground next to his head. Seeing that I easily can defeat him and how I could have killed him just now, he sighs and surrenders to me. All the frost giants shout my name in excitement seeing how easily I handled Thor, their once greatest enemy. Putting my hand out, Thor grasps it as I help him up. "If you want a more equal fight, Sarnald would be my recommendation. She matches you in strength," I say and gesture to Sarnald, who puffs her chest out in confidence at hearing my statement while glaring at Thor too. "Well, luckily you didn't beat me up too much. I'd like that equal challenge," Thor says with excitement in his eyes, staring definitely back at Sarnald. "The fights aren't over yet, my people. The next one is between Sarnald, the High General of Jotunheim, and Thor Odinson," I say after teleporting to the stand where everyone is, and Sarnald jumps down to the arena giving Thor a bloodthirsty look. "I won't fail you, my king and queen," Sarnald shouts as she turns to Alice and me. Ch.65. Matpov. Jasper being Jasper decided to make bets for this round, between Thor and Sarnald. Most of everyone placed their money on Sarnald, after seeing me beat Thor easily. Though Odin and myself, much to everyone's surprise, placed our bets on Thor, as he has several advantages in this fight. The first is his hammer Mjolnir. Sarnald has no special weapon, which now that I think about it may have one made for her. Second, Thor has much more experience. I may have bestowed some information to Sarnald when making her my High General, but that doesn't mean she can best Thor, at best bring it to a stalemate. With these thoughts, I placed my bet on Thor. Either way, I win money and Sarnald gains more fighting experience, or I lose money but Sarnald still gains more experience. Win for me in the end really. After everyone places their bets, Sarnald is standing across from Thor holding her two axes in both hands, both are waiting for me to begin the fight. Without waiting any longer, I start the fight and Thor rushes her just as he did me. Calling lightning on her, Sarnald matched his strength and uses a dome of ice to cover herself from the lightning, which gives her enough time to jump away as the ice blocks it before breaking apart. As she jumps away, Thor jumps in the air to slam Mjolnir into her head, since he is nowhere near her height. Bringing her two axes in across, she manages to block Thor's attack, and Thor is shocked to see she does match him in pure strength equally. Using Thor's second of shock, Sarnald pushes him off her and brings her two axes down to slash him over the head. Thor is able to recover just in time to block her slash but is sent flying into the ground, as he was in midair during this strike. Landing back into the ground with a heavy thud and the ground cracking a bit from the landing, Thor summons another lightning strike on Sarnald. She is unable to respond in time for this and is hit by the lightning, causing her to yell in pain. Thor then uses Mjolnir to slam into her knee and cause Sarnald to fall to her one leg. Jumping up again, Thor used this moment of stunned pain to hit Sarnald in the head with Mjolnir hard, causing her to fly sideways into the ground. Landing back on the ground, Thor rushes back to her to slam Mjolnir into her head on the ground to finish the fight. Sarnald is able to recover just as Thor is rushing over to her and blasts Thor with a wave of ice, which is extremely cold, maybe around 100 C degree, 148 F degree. Sending Thor stumbling back a few feet and roaring in pain as it freezes his hair and the first layer of skin, causing it to crack and break, making him bleed and growl in pain. Sarnald uses this time to stand back on her feet and kick Thor like she is punting him, sending him flying away and into the wall of the arena with a thud. Using her powers over ice, she summons spears to throw at him as she approaches him. Thor is doing his best to dodge them, but a few hit and cut into him, making him bleed even more. Thor, with his anger rising, rushes forward, ignoring the spears as they pierce into him, and with lightning surrounding him goes to fatally strike Sarnald in the head, by overcharging his power. Sarnald responds the same, by overcharging her power to blast him with an ice spear the same width as Thor is tall. Seeing they are going to either severely injure or kill one another, I turn into my true form, teleporting between the two, easily tanking both their attacks and stopping them both. Seeing my appearance, Sarnald immediately falls to her knees, bowing to me, and Thor stops, but I can see the bloodlust behind his eyes. Any more and you two will kill each other. We don't need another war on our hands from either of you killing the other, I say with an annoyed sigh at how they almost went too far. My voice shook the ground, my true presence making the Cullens stare at me in awe and surprise. The fight ends in a draw. No more fights today, but let there be a feast today, I say as I will food to exist throughout the city and liquor. All the frost giants cheer in celebration, and I walk back to the group still in my true form. Holy shit, Matter Veternar, whatever you want to be called, you're a fucking monster, Emmett says in awe, seeing what I really look like, which shows my face outside my godly armor, which has become much more angular, with long white hair braided down my back and 2 sets of icy horns curling upwards, forming a natural crown. Glad none of you are frightened of me, I say with a chuckle, making the ground shake again and not sensing any fear from the Cullens. Alice though jumps up onto my shoulder. You guys should come up here. The view is crazy from Matt's height. Plus we can see all the crazy fluffy animals, Alice says to everyone after jumping onto my shoulder. With that, the Cullens jump onto my shoulders. Veternar, thanks for the entertainment, and nice meeting you all, Odin says, motioning for Thor to come next to him before he teleports back to Asgard. Was nice meeting you, Veternar, and seeing your unsurpassed power. Sarnald, I will challenge you again soon, so you better train more, Thor says to me and looks at Sarnald with a challenging look. She returns the look. With that, both Asgardians teleport back home. Sarnald, go and join the others in the feast. I will show my family around the city and the outskirts, I say, dismissing Sarnald, who nods to me and leaves. Then I begin to show everyone around the city and we all partake in the feast for a few hours. Afterward, head outside the city and show them the nature that I created on Jotunheim. Alice introduces them to the fluffy animals that exist in this place. After spending hours in the city and outskirts with the animals, I also answered all the questions that they had now after seeing everything. I also explained to them my true plan, that I wanted to make a city for all the supernatural of the world and a supernatural government. That one day I would make them gods too, but not everyone. So far the only people I would ascend to join my realm as gods were Alice, Emmett, Rosalie, Jasper, and Edith. As no one else seemed like they made a good goddess, plus I can't change more than a few since it might upset the balance of the universe multiverse. Fuck yeah, I'm gonna be a god. Maybe the god of strength in battle, Emmett says after I explain to them everything. Shit, I feel bad for anyone who prays to you, they will be screwed, Jasper says with a smirk at Emmett. Oh, and what god will you become? The god of hermits and books, Emmett says with a smirk at Jasper, who gives Emmett an annoyed glare. Emmett, you fucking, Jasper was about to start a fight before I put my hand up, stopping them. Not that it isn't fun seeing you both at each other's throats, but I would like to return to Earth. We still have more to do there for a few more years at least, maybe decades, I say with a chuckle and shift back to my human form. As Alice, Rosalie, and Edith sigh, leaving the animals they were playing with to come with us back home to Earth. Just remember everyone, no mention of anything God-related. No one can know the truth, the only ones who do know outside everyone here are Jacob and Astrid. Jacob became a champion of another pantheon, I say with seriousness, and they all nod in understanding. After opening a portal back to our home in Forks, we all step through. Seeing that only a few hours have passed since we were last here. Returning to planning the wedding, the rest of the day goes by uneventfully. The next day there was a surprise visitor again, much to my annoyance. After feeling their presence, my annoyance only increases after knowing who is about to knock on the front door. Opening it right before they can knock, I shot them a questioning glare. Why are you here again, Thor? If you are going to challenge me to another fight, I'm going to break the handle of Mjolnir off in your ass, I say to Thor, who looks shocked hearing what I said and instinctively places his hands on his ass. Kinky, I didn't know you swung on both sides, Thor says and laughs, seeing my face darken at his joke. What the fuck do you want, Thor? I say with an annoyed sigh. Well, I was wondering if I could live with you all here. I haven't stayed in the mortal realm in a long time and wanted to see it all again. Figured you would be the best place to stay at, Thor says, surprising me more. Fuck yeah, we get the god of parties living with us, Emmett says as they all have shown up and heard what is going on. Would be fun having another man in the house who isn't like Emmett, Jasper says, shooting an annoyed look at Emmett. I promise to host the best of food and drinks, Thor says, walking in past me, as I now have a deadpan look on my face. Emmett, Jasper, and Thor wander away as Thor summons flasks of ale for each of them. Why must my life become more hectic as time goes on? I say out loud to myself. Alice and I chuckle at me, but Rosalie gives me an understanding nod. I thought you missed the ruckus that came with your family living here with us, now with Thor, I bet. Yep, gonna be crazy again, Alice says, but is interrupted as Thor breaks something in the house as we hear a loud crash. Veternar, I mean Matt, actually, what do you prefer? Thor says, running back over to us. Matt, while you are here on Earth, and what was that sound? I say with a heavy sigh. I accidentally broke your table and chairs, and something that Jasper called a stove, Thor says with a chuckle and is slightly drunk already. What the fuck? How, never mind, I don't care, I say, walking past him and seeing the destroyed kitchen area, with a drunk Emmett and Jasper wrestling on the ground. Matt, Thor is one of your groomsmen now. I invited him to the things I have planned and the wedding, Emmett says, pushing Jasper away, and Thor comes over to me, putting his arm around my shoulder. With Thor being the same height as me and having similar looks, one can mistake us for twins. I cannot wait for the drinks and naked women, Thor says, laughing while having his arm around my shoulder. Shaking my head, I just sigh. Since when did we become so close? I say with a tired look. Since you made peace in an official alliance between our two realms. Plus, after we fought in the arena, we are now battle brothers. You have my hammer and strength should you ever need it, Thor says with complete conviction and honesty. Nice and all, but if you plan on living on Earth for the time being, you can't show your godly powers or mention anything related to the godly realm around those who don't know anything, I say, looking at Thor seriously. Yes, I know, Father warned me the same thing. I promise you as your brother I won't fail you, Thor says, and begins to chug his seemingly endless tankard. Emmett and Jasper follow suit with him. Shortly after, Jasper passes out drunk and Emmett is barely standing before falling over drunk too. Lightweights, Thor says, laughing before chugging his drink again. Have a good one. To be continued.